What is happening, good people? Jeff C. here. It is Wednesday, April the 15th, 2020 in the New World Order. I hope you're all hanging in there. Hope you're enjoying that Soylent Green. Gonna hear my voice here in a second, maybe? I don't know. There we go. Yeah, well, at least I can hear it. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that, but I'm here with my good friend Camille, and we're going to be discussing several things. The plan to save everything is the title, which I the change when I was talking to Camille about all the different things that we're going to discuss. The plan to save everything is basically the problem reaction solution that the NWO always uses, and this is it. This is for real, y'all. Yeah, this one's for real. They are gonna try to change everything with this, including our diet. So we have a lot to talk about with that. We're gonna also get into some of the methods of contact tracing. This is all being unfurled at the same time. The bug diet is not just the bug diet, but the plant-based diet is something that is in full gear too. And so with that being said, I want to bring in my good friend Camille. Camille, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Great.
Yay!
Finally here.
Yeah. Little delay.
Yeah, we had a little delay. We were hoping to go live at 1, so it's my fault. But actually, it's the NWO's fault for making everything non-essential.
Yeah.
So we have seen a lot of what they're trying to do, and you can see it being played out. Okay, so I didn't prep this, Camille, but I just thinking of it right now as I was discussing here in the intro that Tyson came out and announced.
I saw that.
Yeah. That they're going to start they're already massively involved in the whole plant-based diet.
Oh yeah.
So, you get these, and I did cover this on the live show the other night, where, you get these massive meat producers, just like your fast food operations, who all have at the very same time. I mean, it's uncanny, of course. I mean, what? They all just at the same time start putting out plant-based burgers. This is a transition. And so the food is something huge along with everything else. I mean, you're going to see what they're going to, we've talked about it in length, taking control of all the crops in the world, forcing everybody to live. This is the Agenda 21 sort of getting people. I mean, that's my belief.
And I've been seeing that they're closing the meat processing plants left and right because workers getting coronavirus, all this stuff. But I mean,
the dairy farms too.
Yeah, not that it's the worst thing in the world for the industrial farming to have a shakeup and change. I mean, we have better options available now. We just had to go seek them out, and sure, they'd have to ramp up their scale, but that Eat Wild website we've showed several times, that you can get good stuff now and support them so that they don't have to dump anything. Or I can't imagine they would. Everything's sold out. I like that. Good eggs, everything.
And that's all purposeful. I mean, they're creating artificial shortages. That's first and foremost, right?
Yeah.
They're getting everyone used to scarcity because they want us to live under their terms, right?
Yeah.
So they're crashing, in many ways, folks. They're crashing the free enterprise capitalism system. Absolutely, they're crushing all the middle, small class, or the small business middle class with this. Hundreds of millions of people that are going to lose their jobs, if not more. I mean, we could be in the billions by the time this whole thing is through, but we're looking at hundreds of millions of people across the world. They say 6 million people here in Canada alone already at this point. And what was it? 6.6 plus 6.6 plus 3.3 in the United States. So yeah, you're getting close to 20 million unemployed already, the greatest unemployment increase in the history of the United States, even including the Great Depression.
But fortunately, they have a plan.
Yeah, well, that's it. We're watching
Surprise.
This is the plan. Like it's so, like, there's lots of resistance, there's lots of people now, and this, again, it's the time. There's never been a more important time to speak out, and you can't afford to be friendly at the dinner table anymore. This is too serious now. All our lives and our children's lives, our futures are all at stake here, and everybody needs to scrutinize everything, because they are going to try to whip all, or just speed all this stuff in, including the contact tracing, the bug diet, everything that they want us to embrace. So
fortunately, on my end, people that I've talked to that are different than me in ways, people are all upset. They're all, I mean, I know I was telling you beforehand that people talking about organizing things to get people to stand up against this. It's really good to hear.
yeah, well, they should be. I mean, we never signed on to any of this. This is the reality, though, is that for decades, I mean, you go back further if you want, but for decades, our governments have been signing on to these agreements without any of our consent. That's why democracy is a joke. You think, what? You don't know what they're signing on to. And this is what we're seeing. I mean, all of our governments have basically signed on to Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. And that's why this
new international economic order thing from 1974 from the UN, they all signed on to crash and rebuild. Yeah.
And so the crash and burn, the sort of phoenix rising from the ashes, is what they're going to do. And that's why, like, it's so evil what's going on. Obviously, if this was legit, what they had going on, the most logical thing to do would just be to quarantine those who are most susceptible or most vulnerable, and let business go on as usual. It makes no sense to quarantine all the healthy people and force all the businesses to close, and therefore, people to go bankrupt and become completely. And then, of course, the governments have to bail millions of people out, which just adds to the massive debts that these governments have already accumulated. I don't know how many trillion it is in the United States, but I mean, it's out of control. And it just goes to show you that it's all about the solutions.
At least they've been wanting to give us things like universal basic income for a while. So they've got those all worked out. They've done the trial runs and everything. I follow a universal basic income channel that had Philly DeFranco pop up in a new video the other day. That. Of you. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, I didn't really show the video. I just showed the
I think it was a clip from his show. Yeah.
Yeah. He was interviewing some Asian guy.
Oh, I didn't watch it. I just saw it.
Yeah. Philly Shilly
D. That was a good song.
D.
That was a very fun song.
Just a wretched creature. I hate these people, and I can't hold back my hatred for what they're partaking in, even if they're gullible idiots that are just merely being used as puppets. People like Shilly D make millions every month off YouTube, and here they are, getting. And it's the same thing what they did with the Better Help, getting all their listeners to go online and use Google Duplex to unveil all their weaknesses. And
normalizing that. And now there's so many options.
Well, that's it too. I mean, the whole, this is where it's all going. This pharmaceutical takeover, big pharma taking over everything, at least when it comes to people's health. And, before we get the brain chips, which isn't that far off with Elon Musk and co., we're going to get obviously, I mean, the first step, I think, is to do the contact tracing, and then, and then bring in those skin tattoos that they want to bring in. And then after that, I mean, they just, the age of privacy, they want to wipe it out. And they've done this is what I talked about for a long time, that they've been setting this up where getting the young generation to post everything they do online, to take photos of themselves every, 20 seconds or so, Instagram everything. And then they don't have any concept of, maybe it's not a good idea to let the government know everything that I'm doing at every moment, or the corporatocracy. Yeah, just it's normal, so that they feel like. And they've also been, like this whole, you can think about it, the whole okay boomer sort of thing, where they have orchestrated this, making life so expensive for the younger generations, right, with the student loans and the housing market, prices and stuff like that, that a lot of the youth grow up and they just see debt upon debt and no way out sort of thing. And so now the government comes in and says, well, guess what, we'll just reset everything and
Yeah.
now we're going to pay you to sit at home.
Ta-da! And eat bugs.
Yeah, and they're like, yay,
Yay.
this is amazing, so they have conditioned a whole generation to be, a la Greta, these New World Order zealots who are championing this destruction of freedom, basically, for the promise of big government and just not getting your Soylent Green. So anyways, maybe we'll start off though with the bug diet. We've talked about this so much, Camille, over the past year or so. And I covered it the other day. I don't know if you saw that, but like they're talking about milk. So
the cockroaches?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which again, just like the insect meat, it sounds like a brewing sort of thing, so that it would be in a yeast or E. coli or whatever, that if they're isolating some aspect, are they really milking cockroaches, or is it just cockroach based?
Yeah, you may not have anything to do with cockroaches. Just tell us that, right?
Yeah. They talk about how they want to be honest now. Like, people love science, and so it's okay. Tell them what they're eating. But then at the same time, they're so sneaky.
Oh yeah.
With their clean labels. Yeah,
and that's what it is too. It's like plant based, and they show you it's always green, and it's always got some leaves on cartoon leaves or something. It's like, oh, it's made from plants,
nature.
Yeah, and that it's like the soy too. Like I mean, for years I watched the soy boys put the soy into their cartons when I lived downtown Montreal, and I just couldn't believe it. I'd just be like, my word, what are you?
And now they say they can make the molecular equivalent of the soy with algae. I think it was. You don't even need soy, but I bet it would do the same thing.
You see here, cockroach milk, a promising superfood or nothing but hype. That's Healthline. Cockroach milk is predicted to be the trend in 2020. This is from January the 6th. And then they got the Nerdist here. Cockroach milk could become the next. I mean, it's just insane. It's a trend. And I think it's a lot of symbolism, because what are cockroaches? Like, really, when we think of insects, the most... I would say easily the most detested insect would be a cockroach.
Yeah.
Like, everybody hates cockroaches.
Yeah, that and bed bugs.
Yeah. Like, and they're filthy, right?
Yeah.
They're like rats. They're the rats of the insects.
And aren't they supposed to be the thing that would survive, like the bomb or whatever that they'd be? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. If the whole planet was irradiated,
we could still have cockroach milk.
Yeah, cockroaches would do well. They take over. They grow to like, maybe like that Damnation Alley stupid movie there, where they grow like 20 times the size or something. But yeah, I think it's a lot of symbolism, and also you probably haven't seen it, but maybe I've mentioned. I'm sure I must have mentioned it, because we've discussed this topic before many times. The film Snowpiercer.
I still didn't watch it, but yeah, we've talked about it. Those bars,
yeah. So in the film Snowpiercer, it's insects. I think it's pretty much cockroaches that they feed to the peasant classes. So it isn't a Snowpiercer is a 1 or a 10% Agenda 21 New World Order film, and it takes place in, I mean, a dystopic future where all that's left of the planet is frozen over because, global warming, and all that's left of humanity is on this giant train that just travels around the entire world endlessly. And on the train are the classes So you have the third class way in the back, and you have the middle class, and then you have the upper class. And they live in different sort of completely different realms, and they eat completely different foods. And the peasants are eating these gelatin bars that are made out of insects, and they find that out later when they revolt. It's really something. But yeah, I think in many ways, yeah, they do this on purpose because they despise us. I don't It's not my opinion that they despise us. This is a fact. These people hate us. They hate our existence, and they want us off this planet. And I believe that, yeah, let's get them to eat cockroaches kind of thing. It's the way that they think,
Uh,
right? And it's regardless of whether or not like eating bugs per se is healthy. I mean, there's a lot of protein in bugs and stuff like that, and there are, Africans, for instance, a lot of their diet revolves around bugs, and that's fine. It's a natural sort of cultural development, and it
but
makes
like we've
sense.
said before, the farm, if they were actual farmed insects, what are they eating? Yeah. And then
And yeah,
if it's brewed up in a tank, what's the culture eating?
yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. If you're eating insects that are, in a tank, are they happy insects, right? I mean, just on
Uh,
top of that, like, it's the same you could say with the chickens. And again, we said Cargyle, or no, it was Tyson. I imagine Cargile's up to it as well, which is all switching to the
oh yeah.
plant-based, right?
Oh yeah.
But the fact that these corporations are doing this show that it's all a big club, right? That this is all plotted out, and it makes total sense. Like I said before, with the fast food corporations, right? Like in the old days, if McDonald's or Burger Thing came out with some plant-based burger, the other corporation would ridicule it and put up ad after ad saying, "Look at McDonald's feeding you this fake." They would use it as an opportunity. That was when there was such a thing as capitalism and competition, and there wasn't the New World Order controlling everything. Now, McDonald's comes out with plant-based burger, and then next week it's Burger King, and then, Subway and Tim Hortons and everybody else follows, and you see the transition of your diet, which is happening right before your eyes. Same with your supermarkets. Like, notice this in your supermarkets. Go to your supermarket, look where the burgers normally are, and all of a sudden you start seeing, oh, about a third of them now are plant-based
Yeah.
burgers, and then before long it'll be half, and then before long it will be all of them, and they'll just they'll put the actual meat ones out of range. Like, they'll be out, because like they're causing massive inflation as well with this total shutdown, right? And the massive bailout that they're doing for the masses of people that they've unemployed, basically. So it's a
And I
perfect
can't tell
storm.
you how
Go
many
ahead.
articles I've seen that are saying that all of this Kobe thing is all because of animal agriculture. It's all because of that. This is
Die.
why it's causing it. It's,
Wet
yeah.
markets.
Yeah.
The China just Did you see that China just changed the classification of dogs?
I saw it. Cats too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and again, most of us would be,
But different cultures.
yeah, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
that's I
Yeah.
mean, come on. Like, no offense to, I mean, I love dogs. I love
Yeah.
cats, right? I absolutely adore them. But I mean, pigs are every bit as friendly, and actually even more intelligent than dogs and cats. And
Hmm.
and they're extremely sociable. So you could get a pig, and it could be your best friend, basically, like a dog. But we eat pigs every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, it's really, that's the way to think of it, is that, okay, yeah, maybe we shouldn't eat dogs and stuff like that, but, and I wouldn't, right, unless my life depended on it, sort of thing. But nonetheless, I mean, eating pigs is really no different. So, to the bigger picture of what they're doing is they're going to put us all on the Agenda 21 diets.
Oh
They're
yeah.
going
They
to
were
transform.
outlawing hunting and
Mhm.
things. I mean, that's crazy. But
Yeah,
how
they
fast will that spread?
think of, and then you think about PETA and
Yeah.
all the WWE World, or WWF, is it World Life Foundation,
Yeah.
PETA, all these groups that are part of the same, and they've been doing this for decades, where they've been programming people. The vegan movements, obviously, right, massively part of the New World Order. And again, I'm not against people that choose not to eat animals. It's just that's the New World Order. Just as long as you're not kidding yourself and thinking that it's organic movements. No, it's not organic movements. The New World Order is clearly laid it out. And we went through it too when you were showing some of the fine print of how they were going to use celebrities and stuff to program the masses into eating the plant-based burgers.
Oh, yeah.
This is all a transformation of our world. I mean, that's what it is, right? You look at Agenda 2030, they tell you, right? It's like the first thing, transforming our world. Like they want to, every element of humanity is targeted here, except of course the elites themselves. So this universal basic income that they're bringing in, Spain is probably by design and probably has been targeted as being the first place for a long time, because Spain has had a massive amount of unemployment, especially amongst the younger generation, where about a quarter of Spain has been unemployed for quite a long time. And this is so Spain has been like the testing ground for that particular thing in Europe, and now it's official. They've just laid it out. Universal basic income. Now Canada is talking massively about this. In fact, they are, they're saying for Alberta, for instance, because Alberta now has the worst unemployment in Canada because Alberta's tied directly to the oil industry. Now the oil industry now is cutting back on production, which should give some, which will raise the prices again, right? So OPEC got together, and this is very important. Pay attention to ease and squeeze that they do, these games they play to bring about what they want to bring about. But they're talking about in Alberta here implementing a universal basic income. So Canada is already talking about this. The United States has been talking about it. We were looking probably at a complete reset of the currency, a digital currency. This is all massively tied to everything they want to do. So yeah, it's a full transformation that's happening. And look at this. They got anyone fancy a glass of cockroach milk? And they got a little girl here.
Oh my.
It's just so
Poor thing.
Yeah. Not that, again, it's not that milk is the greatest thing in the world, but we should be drinking as much as we do. But this is, again, their machinations for changing everything. So what we're going to say here, you've got this. Do you want to look at this one now? In the groundbreaking vote for sustainability, EU moves to approve insects for human consumption.
Yum. If you want to make it bigger. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. And they've got this Bear Grylls, this fake character. I don't know if you know
I've
who
seen
that is?
this show. Yeah, I did see.
Was it Man versus the Wild or something like that? Yeah, Man. And this guy was the biggest fraud. People don't know this. He like spend half the day, or he spend half the episode making a hut to sleep in, and then he'd go sleep in a hotel. So, as famed adventure television host, world record holder, former British Special Forces operator, there's nothing, no attachments here. He's not a government shill. And all-around feel-good motivational guy, Bear Grylls, repeatedly reminded us on his television programs, Man vs. the Wild and Running Wild, insects have more protein than beef or fish, sometimes as much as 8 times more if measured pound for pound. After a long television career pounding back worms, grubs, spiders, crickets, ants for our amusement, Grylls would certainly be applauding the new proposal. I guess he would. He's major league shill. I mean, it's like that's his purpose. Those shows were for this.
Yeah, I saw him do some nasty things.
Like they and then you could say Joe Rogan. The same thing with his awful show, Fear Factor.
Yeah.
And that's where people are confused about where Joe Rogan came from. That's where Joe Rogan came from. Eat it, right? And they're making them eat insect larvae and stuff like that.
Oh,
And
worse than that.
yeah, like oh, I didn't want to mention it.
Yeah.
Turned my stomach. I just ate
We've all
lunch.
pictured it now.
Yeah. So yeah, so Grills would be applauding the new proposed European Union legislation that would allow for mealworms, lesser mealworms, crickets, and locusts to be sold as novel food sources, pumping life into an industry that, while small, produces 500 tons of food annually, according to The Guardian. The products include things like cricket protein bars, locust aperitif, mealworm burgers, and the new regulations from the European Food Safety Authority are likely to open the floodgates for insect food to flow from countries where they are made, like Holland, the UK, Denmark, Belgium, Finland, into countries where they are banned, such as Italy, France, and Spain. We reckon these authorizations will be a breakthrough for this. Who in Europe uses reckon? It's an American. Says Christoph Darian, the Secretary General for International Platform. Oh, look at this. Look at this. He's the Secretary General for International Platform of Insects for Food and Feed.
Who knew?
And again, too, we showed that where the chicken and pig feed, and they're putting these insect like they're feeding them insects now and stuff like that, or it's like insect meal.
Oh, and they brew up the proteins, the microbial proteins to turn.
Yeah, and it's not the natural diet of chickens and pigs to eat that stuff, right? And it's like, here you go, guys.
Yeah, black soldier fly pellets instead of just flies or whatever.
And of course, they're hungry. Pigs will eat anything, sort of thing, right? But then we eat the pigs.
Yeah.
They are taking the necessary time. They are demanding the information, or they are very demanding on the information, which is not bad. But we believe that once we have the first novel, a lot of novels going around these days. First novel food given a green light from the EFSA, who approved the aspartame by throwing away all the studies that showed negative. I don't know if you remember that, but
yeah,
that will have a snowball effect. Companies in the Netherlands, France, Switzerland, and Spain are all preparing to ramp up operations to prepare for the demand, perceiving through market signals that people actually want insect food. I wonder if Bear has anything to do with it.
I wonder if it's being like featured in shows and things.
It is.
It is.
The bugs. Yes. Yeah. Like even Alex Jones has been doing it. Where it's like they had Alex Jones. You're like, look at this. They're serving bugs on the pizza here. And he ordered a slice. He ordered a slice and he ate it. But yeah, they actually here in Rainbow Unicorn Land, the Canadian Brainwashing Corporation, which is publicly funded by Canadian taxpayers and wants to turn your kids into trannies, actually put out regular propaganda for their CBC kids about eating bugs. I show this a lot.
I remember
that. If I can bring that up here just to show folks. CBC kids, bugs. And
I remember seeing a video too with like children and their parents to
insects.
Getting them to eat
look at this thing. They got their rainbow unicorn as their symbol for the kids, of course, because they're so utterly evil. And then insects, yay, the new superfood. Come on, kids! Come and get your bugs. Yeah. So that's just an example. Remember that book, How to Eat Fried Worms? Is it a New York Times bestseller? Was it by a Rosenstein?
But look how healthy they are. Nutrition. Yeah. Oh my.
Remember the children's book when Kevin's two dads, or Mama, Mia, and Me? It's like, how long have they been in our libraries just absolutely twisting our brains
Yeah.
far too long. But there you go. That looks nutritious. Doesn't that make you hungry, Camille?
Mm.
Yeah, it's crunchy. Environmentally friendly. Sure, the bugs like to be eaten.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's and look at that. I mean, I can't even imagine eating this. This would taste absolutely disgusting. But of course, I guess if you were to cook it and put all kinds of chemicals and everything else on it,
That
might
one looks spiky.
yeah. Anyways, so where were we here?
If you look at that protein report site, there's a lot of this going on.
Ooh.
And people should look at this site, just the regular, what is that, .org, proteinreport.org.
Yes,
There's
protein. Yep.
so much. They cover so much of the cellular agriculture, the plant-based, everything. It's a good site.
So this site, are they here to reveal how they're changing all this?
I think they're excited.
They're
yeah,
so
it's like an aggregate sort of thing. It sends you to other.
Okay, good, because so this is basically one of these cheerleading sites and showing you all the progress that they're making with this,
which is super helpful.
Yes,
super helpful when they do this.
And the buzzing potential of insect farms. Now that's probably what they're going to do, because now they're starting to, like, I showed this, and you can only imagine it's being amped up massively now with what they're doing with a lot of the farms. But they're in England or in Great Britain, they're paying farmers not to farm basically on their land. And that you could see that a lot of farms, what they're going to do is they're going to give subsidies and grants if they switch to insect production and stuff like that. Like they're probably going to promote this type of stuff. Well, they already are to a huge extent, but edible insects most likely coming to European supermarkets soon. And again, it's like, yeah, in Africa, where for hundreds or thousands of years that's what they've been eating, that would be a normal thing. It's just like going into China and those wet markets, right, where maybe they serve you bat soup. Right? That's just the way people have been eating for thousands of years. That's not the way that Europeans eat. And we all come from a radically different culture. So this is a complete transformation. And if you start to see it, again, like I mentioned before with the plant-based burgers, just notice how they start to take over your shelves. And all of this is being forced on us. It's a transition. And you see
they're doing the blended meats, the blended products that's like half meat, half plant-based, to get to immediately cut the meat intake and to get people used to it. Oh, it tastes good. Look. You don't mind.
Yeah. No, it's halfway there.
Yeah.
That's just the way to get, the people to the people that wouldn't try it to try it, sort of thing. No, it's got half meat in it. Oh, all right.
And with the flavor industry and the texture, people, they could make those mealworms delicious. People would love it. The blended mealworm burger.
Let me think about that. The movie Lost Boys. Have you seen that one?
Lost Boys. That's with the rice.
Yeah. It's like, how's your rice, or how's your maggots? And he looks, and his rice is maggots now. Ugh. And I wonder if maybe, because it's not that far off, folks, where you're gonna order, instead of Chinese food, you're gonna order a thing of maggots. Basically, they're moving us this way rapidly.
Step right up.
Yeah, step right up. So, this is, wow. What's this? Insects? You see this? Insects?
Yeah. Maybe the weird brand.
What is that? Like, are they growing these giant things?
Maybe they're big bioreactors. I don't know. I didn't click on that one.
He says...
he loved insects. Yeah. You got to click away to get to the whole article.
Matt, what if they can... just make these giant, like, mealworms or whatever.
Everybody gets a slice.
Yeah, this is so what are they doing here? He formed Wormganic. Anybody that says nonprofit, just right there, stop. Right? I hate that word. It's just like philanthropist.
Yep.
Nonprofit organization that focused on food sustainability, urban agriculture, and organic waste recycling. So he's set up this company, Yinsect, here. And
Oh, to make fish feed, pet food, and fertilizer.
oh, wonderful. Oh, yeah. This is your feed.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I guess that's what they're giving to the fish and whatnot.
And then you're going to eat them. Fish.
Oh, wow.
What else is in there? I mean, we know they put like the probiotics, the Bacillus subtilis in the animal feed now, and that they say that, well, the people that make the human version of that say that it makes like 20-25 antibiotics inside of you.
Look, they got Macron here.
Is he tasting it?
Yeah. Oh, this is again, it goes to show you, though, everybody needs to realize that this is a global whole sort of orchestration, that they're all your leaders are just puppets. This is all going to happen unless, of course, enough people stand up to it. They're going to change everything about us. Like freedom, forget about it, right? I mean, now you're going to have to fight to get freedom because they're not going to let you. Like, they're not going to let you grow your own crops. They're already doing this with with this pandemic crap, where you go to Walmart or whatever, and I showed this in videos, and it's all taped up. You can't buy seeds.
That's sick.
How are seeds not essential? But burgers or McDonald's, Big Macs are.
Yeah, you can still hit the drive-through because those are totally essential.
It's
well,
just insane.
Some people might not know how to cook too, and they've shut down the local little places.
And then they say here, when we go back to this article here, look at these bug chips here.
I've seen the chirp chips. That's them. Yeah, sorry, chirp chips. Yeah.
And once an obvious solution, insects have been part of the staple diet of many world cultures. Even now in modern times, they represent a rich source of animal protein that is practically immune to extinction. And just like traditionally harvested animals are perfectly safe to eat if you control the conditions in which they live.
Mm-hmm.
I think they do live. They live. Yeah. And then with the most basic brain functions of anything in the animal kingdom, Animalia, insects are also less likely to offend the sensibilities of vegetarians.
I don't understand why it would be okay to eat bugs, but not. I don't understand, but I'm not vegetarian.
Because animals are cute and cuddly.
Some bugs are cute.
It's true though, eh? It's like, I don't know, like I like bugs, by the way.
Maybe they just are saying it won't offend, so that they think, oh, well, it's not supposed to offend us.
Well, but the thing about vegetarians, vegans, and vegetarians, is that that's where they come from. Is I know this because I know quite a few of them that they get programmed by the New World Order, the Agenda 21 movies that come out that show the horror stories of, and it's true, it is horrible, like Tyson and Cargyle and the chicken farms and the pig farms that they have, and the deplorable conditions, and this should not be acceptable, obviously.
But somehow it's making complete sense to let those same monsters make all the new food.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand.
And that's the truth of it, is that these corporations, in many ways, they have carefully orchestrated this. Is probably way back when they're making those movies, right, where they're putting in the cameras. Then they got the cameras in the slaughter houses and stuff like that, showing you the horrible conditions that these animals live in. And they're saying, no, this is all part of a plan. We have to turn people away, and program as many people into being vegetarians and vegans as possible, because this is all part of Agenda 21.
Yeah, we've got a schedule to keep. They've got it all planned.
So I believe that propaganda is purposeful, just like we mentioned before, the WWF, PETA is just awful. PETA, again and again and again. And it plays on people's sensibilities. It's much like getting people to place their sympathies with illegal aliens or illegal migrants, right? And I say illegal because it is illegal when you break into somebody else's country. You're an illegal alien. I mean, that's what you're supposed to be termed that. And yet we have to be programmed into thinking that those are the most important people on the planet and our sympathies should lie with them. And so they manipulate us over and over again. Well, not us, but I'm saying people that watch the television, into rallying and doing marches and protesting in favor of these people. Meanwhile, people in your own town, are sleeping on park benches and stuff like that. It's just a manipulation. So it's the same with these vegetarian and vegans. A lot of them could be programmed over and over again because you see I think all of us that are not psychopathic, abhor any sort of violence towards animals, because animals are amazing creatures and all that, and we can connect with them on so many levels. But the reality is that the history of hunting, for instance, like the seal hunts, like for instance, where they get off and they show that, and it was Paul McCartney and co were involved in that massive plot to stop the seal hunts in Canada. Do you remember that?
Slightly.
So if you don't know what the seal hunt, what they do is that they the guys jump off the boat kind of thing, and they go on the icebergs, and they whack these seals on the head and they kill them.
But are they going to eat them?
Well, yeah, they of course. They eat them. They, I guess they use the pelts and they use the meat and the oil and whatever else, right? Whatever they get from it. Is it barbaric the way that they kill the animals? Well, yeah, but what else are you gonna do, right? Would you rather that they, cuddle them for a little while and then bring them on the boat and play with them, and then I don't know, how would you kill them then, right?
Wait till they fall asleep.
Like at least if you jump on the iceberg and you got a club or whatever, and the thing knows, oh, that thing's coming to kill me, I better run away. You might have a chance, right? But the thing is that they manipulated the masses into thinking that's just evil and barbaric, when it's, that's just the way hunting is in a lot of ways. It's hunting is not pleasant for the prey. It never is. It's just a part of how the world works, right?
And so I've seen where the whale hunts and like bloody beach pictures, and oh, look at how horrible this is. But people don't see how their food is made world. So much. Yeah.
I mean, you can complain about that, and you could be using the oil to light your lantern sort of thing, right, at night, like I'm saying back in the day. And yeah, it's pretty brutal, and nothing is perfect. And especially the thing that you can't go and judge the past based on your position today. It's impossible. Anybody that does that is a moron. Mm-hmm. So it's like going back and judging cultures for things that they did. Well, that's the way of life. If you grew up in that place, that's what you would be doing, right? Because that's just the way things evolved in those communities, in those countries, in those towns. And hunting is essential. It's absolutely essential. It's probably one of the most important skills that anyone could have. And this is absolutely in their crosshairs. They want to ban hunting. I mean, I've been showing that, especially you look on Twitter and other places where these things go viral. They're actually calling for a worldwide ban on hunting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And in the United States, I know they've been pushing for quite some time, all the different illnesses with the deer and everything, they'll be too risky.
What about the mad cow disease?
Yeah.
No,
all of it.
Mad cow disease,
animals,
I would say, is a fairy tale. What is it? Jacob's Crutchfields, whatever.
Don't ask me to spell it.
Yeah. So the mad cow disease, for those of you out there that are listening, they used that, I think, in the 90s or the 2000s, the early 2000s, where, these cows were getting these degenerative brain disorders, and the people that would eat the meat from these cows would get the same disorder. It was a very small percentage of people. But what they did was, Jake's Crookshank disease. I'll look it up here just for a second because I think it's a really good, important
Isn't it
lesson.
also like bovine spongiform encephalitis sort
Yeah,
of thing too?
mad cow disease.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Encephalopathy.
bovine spongiform encephalopathy.
It's
Phallopathy, encephalopathy, BSE. And okay, so and they said here the Crooksfield Jacob disease sort of thing. Okay, so this I would say is an example of New World Order programming. Why? Because they used it massively to turn people away from eating beef.
When was it that, because I mean, I know Patrick Jordan and Clint Richardson have covered this topic a good bit back in the day, but when was it that this was going on? Because, you know, they've got like the cloned animals and all of the different things that they feed them. You never know.
The first recorded case was in 1993 from Alberta, Canada.
Yeah.
Now,
Way
yeah,
to go,
again,
Canada.
it could
No.
be blame Canada. Yeah, it could be a lot of different things, but the way that I look at it is the solutions, because what or what they try to do with it. So with the mad cow disease, they used this massively in the 90s and in the early 2000s to turn people into vegetarians and to turn people away from eating beef. And you know that it's been a massive sort of a New World Order campaign to, you know, turn people away from eating traditional beef and stuff like that. That this works perfectly because you combine several things. And what they were saying about the mad cow disease was that with cattle, especially with hamburger meat, ground beef.
Yeah, worse, like 1,000 cows.
Yeah, like 1,500 cows per burger or something like that. They would put that out. I don't know how that makes sense. I don't understand how.
Big vat.
Yeah, I still doubt it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, come on, seriously. But nonetheless, they would say that, right? And so it works perfectly for that type of fear, because you can generate fear of people, and then people are afraid of eating something, and then all of a sudden it doesn't take, you don't have to get everybody off, but if you can get 10, 15, 20% of people to divert and stop eating beef, for instance, that's a significant portion. I'm not saying there isn't anything and it's totally made up, but I'm saying it's very convenient that things like mad cow disease proliferate for so long.
And isn't it that it's a prion disease, and I think that's connected or a similar thing to that kuru, the cannibalism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting too, because again, with the cannibalism, when we get into that, we talked about it a lot.
Cultured celebrity meats.
Yeah.
Cultured celebrity cheese.
Cultured celebrity meats, so let's look
like Ellen DeGeneres.
It's cultured celebrity meats, right?
Yeah.
And they got Bite Labs.
Yeah, that's
look
the
at
one.
This Bite Labs.
They put that out years ago, and people were like, "Oh, that's disgusting." But now, what would they think?
Yeah, so Bite Labs grow meat from celebrity tissue samples and use it to make artisanal salami.
Ooh, it's snutty too. Yeah, fancy.
That's just disgusting. First and foremost. Second of all, when you think about, we'll just show you this celebrities. I don't know what Google will show, but the celebrities are all into cannibalism. They have these, and look, Google doesn't show much at all. They don't want you to really know about this. Maybe if I put, what's her name there? Queen Abramovich. So you get an example here what the celebrities do here.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like you've got them eating from, like, this is Marina Abramovich here. I hate the way that Google does this, because you'd like to see the full size images.
I think they laugh every time they hear you say that.
Yeah,
they're like, we got him. Jeff hates it.
Yeah.
Are these guys better?
Yeah, they're a little better, but there you see the examples where the celebrities come around, they eat from these bodies. Now, this one looks like it's just a model that's lying there, and they put all this stuff on her, but the symbolism of it is very telling. And again, they don't have too many images here of this, but they would make these cakes and these meals. And this goes back when you look at the 72 Rothschild ball there. Whoop. Somebody had it there. Yeah, the Rothschild ball. They were doing the exact same things here. The Rothschild, and they use these names for their dishes that would be like all cannibalism names, sort of thing, right? So this is what the celebrities, well, at least the Illuminati, you'd say the elites are into, is they're very much into cannibalism. And this is not, I mean, it's an unfortunate thing for most people can be like, yeah, come on, don't be silly, man. They don't really do. Yeah, they do this. They're into this stuff. They're creepy as fuck. How many cannibalism movies are out there? A lot. And a lot of them depict cannibalism favorably. So the cannibalistic sort of element that's in society here that they carry out. There's Deborah Harry from Blondie. You see her holding up a heart. It's not a real heart, most likely, but it's and at this dinner too, where Marina Abramovich here is wearing the scientist lab coat sort of thing. All the top celebrities are there, from Meryl Streep to Will Ferrell to Jay-Z to, they're all there, sort of thing. And this is what you would see on the table, sort of thing, right? Like these bodies that they would carve up and eat.
It's just demented.
They would get people to, like, these models here to be heads on the table when the celebrities are eating. So yeah, it's all anyway, something to throw in there, because what is happening, that's why I put Soylent Green, is that there's this push for cannibalism that is coming through with this as well. Not just the bugs, but the Norwegian, you remember that one, right?
Norwegian which?
The Norwegian scientist. Oh, it's a Swedish scientist. I said the Swedish. I'm like the guys on the thing. I always get it. Swedish, Norwegian. No. Okay. The Swedish scientist suggests. Oh, good Lord. I mean, I have to take this off for a second. All right, hang on. Swedish scientist.
Would be, if people are okay with the cannibalism thing, then why would it matter if everything's being brewed up? And
yeah,
what's freaky about that?
Look at this. A Swedish scientist suggests that climate change crisis could lead to people to consider eating human flesh. It's not the first time a scientist has suggested the idea. This came out, was it last year, 2 years ago? 2018. Or no, there was another guy here, Richard Dawkins. I've heard of him before too. He's an evolutionary biologist. Richard Dawkins put forth a similar idea. This is dated September the 11th, 2019. Here. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
This is how these people roll. And so what he was suggesting was that we eat our elderly.
Yes. I mean, I just, it's something to wrap your head around. I mean, maybe I can see feeding them to the microbes, but they want people to straight up eat the...
Yeah, they want people to eat. There he is. This is the scientist here. He's a behavioral scientist. I'm sure he has splendid behavior if he thinks that we should eat people. So...
Don't want to hang out with that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Bringing over Hannibal Lecter for dinner, sort of thing, right? But that, like, what's happening here, again, September the 11th, or here it's 11/9, right? It's the 9/11 sort of code again, sort of thing, where they do this. And again, the whole Ebola thing, is the the Kobe thing is connected to 9/11. You know that, right?
Oh yeah.
And I'll just show folks that aren't that are listening here. The movie Contagion here, which is all about what's happening. It was
Exactly, right?
Contagion was made 110% for this. That's the only purpose of Contagion, was for what's happening right now. And it came out on September the 9th, 2011.
Just a coincidence, I'm sure.
And I'll just show you another one to throw in there. I showed this on a video the other day. Jaws and COVID here. And you see Lee Fierro dies of COVID-19. Actress was 91. So you got the 1991, which 1991, of course, is the year that they announced the New World Order. So just the 11s and the 9s again that they throw in over and over again. Where were we then?
We could go to the microbe meat. We could go to Bill Gates and all those guys.
What do we got here? Is this it? U.S. plant-based meat startup Nature's Find. Nature's Find. Nature's Fiend. Backed by Jack Ma. Bill Gates gets new funding from Al Gore. Oh my God.
And Bloomberg and Bezos.
Oh, wonderful. All the psychos together.
Yeah.
All of them. Wow.
And they say that they'll have it on the U.S. shelves within a year. That's what they're saying. Like drinks and foods. All the things that need protein. And it's sustainable.
Yeah. It's just how it works. Wow. Can anybody do something about this? Can somebody please do something? I mean, is this the biggest scumbag in world history? I mean, it's going to be a lot of famous mass murderers and psychos throughout world history that are going to be envious of this guy. I mean, they got to be at this point, because this guy is just involved in everything.
Yep. He is.
And Bill Gates
up on all the things.
Yeah, he's a clear psychopath. He's
smiling and laughing.
Clear psychopath. In fact, Grace showed that too in his video, talking about his religious beliefs, which he has none, of course.
Yeah.
But you see that psychopathic sort of mindset, and a lot of these people are psychos. Jeff Bezos looks like a complete psycho. He looks like a complete. I don't know. He looks like everything that you can think of nasty. But yeah, here you go. And the latest 80 million funding round comes as African swine fever and coronavirus highlight how vegan meat, what? Like, what is meat?
It's whatever they say it is, Jeff.
It's like saying dry water. One of them there's not like the other. Vegan meat is increasingly viewed as a sustainable alternative to animal protein. We've shown this too, that this lab-based meat is not at all easy to produce or anything, right? It's
so processed. There's it's not like spinach and beans.
And Nature's Find. I mean, do we know what the etymology of this? I just want to look that up for a second, just to see. Find. Why would they spell it like that? Maybe for, I don't know, copyright reasons or something. And then they've got Find. What is this? Find.com. Just to see. So it's a fashion thing, but they've got the cube symbolism here. Suspending all services. They get the guy with a mask. So it's some clothing store thing online. But I was just trying to see if it actually has a definition. Oh, look! Well, look. Do you see what comes up?
Fiend.
Fiend. That's what I think of. So I guess it's another way of spelling fiend. So so Nature's Fiend is targeting regulatory approval from China and Hong Kong within the next 18 to 24 months. And look at this.
And I talked about this in my, maybe not the new video, maybe the one before. But yeah, showing their big rollout of the microbe meats, at first it's, this peas. Yeah, it's piece, and it's NASA technology. This is the stuff they want for space travel and everything, and that they're able to just feed them CO2. They're able to feed them trash, maybe your grandparents,
It's like the
they can make anything.
faceless propagandist video there.
Yep.
It's made from my uncle, my dead uncle, and I've got my water here. It's from the toilet, it's Bill Gates' toilet.
You have to remember with this stuff, because they're saying, we saw Bill Gates talk about, they'll be able to reopen the schools, people will be able to go back in schools. There was already the big push to bring all the plant-based foods into the schools and the prisons and the old folks home and the hospitals. So they'll probably be perfect for the microbe stuff. We know, like, the next link is how they're expanding, and they're in all kinds of schools. They've been in all kinds of schools.
Yeah, your kids are on the menu. They are. It's your kids that they want to eat this stuff. And again, we have no idea how many different ways this affects us, because most of us, or at least until recently, would grow up on the type of foods that humans have been eating. I know it's changed a lot.
Yeah, the Industrial Revolution, all that, they changed all kinds. Patrick Jordan calls it doof, not food.
Yeah, it's funny because like I saw a video like a couple months ago, and it was like one of these informative sort of YouTube channels, and they were like, or they were a channel that recreates medieval life and stuff like that.
Okay.
And they had what did a peasant eat, in feudal England or feudal Europe, say, right? And it's pretty astonishing. I don't know how accurate it is, but like you look and you're like, wow, they ate well. They ate really well. I mean, they'd have like really healthy bread, because the bleached sort of white bread was for the aristocrats, right? Yeah. And they would eat the bread with all the grains in it and everything, and then they would have like lots of vegetables and stuff like that, and it was all just natural foods for the most part. And yeah, now we've radically changed. So yeah, we've grown up with a diet heavily processed meats, and
now they want to go to hell with the joke. Now they want to just they use the excuse all the time. Oh, food's been changed for so long. You're not even eating what that plant once was. So now it's not that far to go to this whole new thing.
Yeah, they've transitioned us all through this. Like they've done this like. It's very calculated, the whole way that it's unrolled.
Oh yeah, and this is such a huge part of the bioeconomy. The complete transformation of not just our food and the medicine and everything, like your clothes, your cleaners, anything that can be made. They say can be made with biology, synthetic biology, and it's crazy.
The plant-based meat maker. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Plant-based meat maker Nature's Fiend said it has recently secured $80 million of funding from investors, including former U.S. President or Vice President Al Gore. And as the 4-year-old food tech startup begins productions in Chicago and prepares to expand into Asia. So a 4-year company getting money from Al Gore, getting money from Bill Gates and co. This is how these corporations roll, right? They just come out of nowhere, and next thing you know, they're getting massive donations and funding from extremely evil people. The latest equity funding round comes after African swine. It always comes after something, right? African swine fever, and more recently, the coronavirus have highlighted how plant-based or vegan meat is increasingly viewed as climate-friendly, a stable source of animal protein alternative. That's total hogwash, folks. This is just gobbledygook. They're just making this stuff up. This is the plan, of course, and they want you to buy into that. Oh yeah, it's more sustainable, right? Oh yeah, we gotta stop eating chickens. We're gonna eat this stuff.
Yeah, this uses less water.
Yeah,
They always.
Yeah.
all about the water.
In China, which has been hit hard by both epidemics since May last year, extra imports of pork to compensate for supply shortage caused African swine fever have dried up over the past 2 months because of travel bans triggered by the coronavirus. China produced 42.55 million tons of pork in 2019, down more than a fifth from a year earlier.
All kinds of things were saying how the Chinese would be very accepting of these new kinds of food replacement products. And now with the coronavirus and this swine fever thing, you could see them just jumping at it, I'll bet. And if there's food shortages there, I mean, they got to be hungry. They need the protein.
Yeah, exactly. And plus you pretty much have a complete communist dictatorship there, so they can force people to do whatever they want them to do. Plus, they got rid of a lot of people too, right?
And how did they define it? Did they even tell them over there what it is?
Yeah, they shut up and eat your insect protein.
Yeah.
So in countries such as China, you would have to import pork or soybean as the hog feedstocks. Our technology enables the growth of locally sourced protein using simple sugar sourced in Asia, said Nature's Fiend co-founder and chief executive Thomas Jonas.
Yeah, I've seen all sorts of things they're talking about. Oh, it's made with natural sugar cane and things like that as the feedstock.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very deceptive.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
It's whatever they want you to believe.
Yeah.
The recent epidemics have highlighted the important role China plays in global food production supply chains, Jonas says. Hence, Nature's Fiend is targeting regulatory approval from China and Hong Kong within the next 18 to 24 months. It sees significant market potential, which I got clicky, which has in recent years increased its commitment to combating greenhouse gases produced by traditional husbandry practices.
Traditional or industrial.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just this is where we're going, and this is the reason why, basically, right? I mean, they'll just tell you this stuff, and they expect you to believe it. And then they said here, check this out. So the company recently changed its name to from Sustainable Bioproducts. So that was the name of the corporation before. Now, with its latest funding, Nature's Fiend has raised a total of 113 million, and the investors include Breakthrough Energy Ventures, which is a 1 billion tech fund led by New World Order psychopath Bill Gates and supported by tech moguls including Alibaba. That's an interesting name. Alibaba Group founder Jack Ma, SoftBank Group's founder and chief executive Masayoshi Son, and of course, psychopath Amazon chief executive Jeff Bezos. And then Al Gore, who was U.S. vice president during the Bill Clinton's administration, participated through a dedicated sustainable investment firm, which he co-founded and chairs, called Generation Investment Management.
And I think it's in the other article I have on this that I show in the video. Sources are linked there, but not that one, but that says Bloomberg too. So.
Oh, I have it. Do I have it here?
No, I could get it, but.
Okay, no, you could just tell us though if you want.
Oh yeah, just that Bloomberg is one of the investors in this too.
Yeah.
And they're happy. Look at that. Too? They got this microbe from a geothermal spring.
Yeah, they said Nature's Find uses a protein which is derived from a microbe originally discovered in geothermal springs of Yellowstone's volcano. Yeah. It's just insane, this stuff. Look at this too. How does it spread? Oh, it's a green guy.
Don't talk to green people. Yeah.
Did you see Turdo the other day? And he's like, if we're speaking to each other moistly. Oh, that's a terrible way of saying it. It's so funny. All right, so we'll move on to the next one here.
Yeah, there's still so much.
Yeah,
this one.
Josh, go ahead.
Yeah, this is the Josh Tetrick. This is the guy he did a presentation in Hong Kong, a year or two ago. It's on their YouTube. I think it's Just Inc. or Just Foods is their YouTube channel. But but yeah, where he's talking about the micronutrients and how they can turn all these, like if Kraft or Heinz or any of these, or Kraft Heinz, I think it's actually one thing, that whatever flavor profile they want, nutritional micronutrient with fluoride on the list profile, that they can make butter. They can, we don't have to raise pigs this way. Look at this facility that we can build and use less water, use less land. Like everything's just great.
Yeah, you're gonna have plant-based butter now with fluoride.
Yeah, right? Get your micronutrients.
I laugh.
Your quadruple encapsulated micronutrients that Bill Gates is.
I can't help but laugh out loud when I go to the super, or I go to the pharmacy, and they've got it's like mouthwash or something like that. Now with fluoride.
Oh.
It's like
the nursery water, even baby water. They said fluoride.
It's like, yeah, now you've got it. All right. So Eat Just incorporated, expanded internationally amid COVID-19 crisis. We're treating this thing as we should, which is an emergency. And then they show you this. This is your
mung bean. Yeah.
Scrambled eggs of the future. I think about the Star Wars movie there. I don't know if you've seen the Disney Abomination Star Wars.
No.
But they got the character Rey in the first one, and she's collecting parts from the wreckages of the old Star Destroyers in the desert, sort of thing, to trade in for food credits. And what she gets in return are these little packets that she sticks into a bowl, and then adds something to it, and then it puffs up into a big meal, sort of thing, right? Kind of reminds me of this type of what they're showing here, right? Well, because they're conditioning the kids of the future into accepting this synthetic food. Is basically what I believe what they're trying to do with these movies is, because it's a telling scene. Because if you watch the Feminist Awakens, the first of the Disney movies, that's one of the first scenes in the movie, how she eats, sort of thing. And this is all part of our programming, folks. They want us to embrace their synthetic foods. And, there's a million different ways to say that you are what you eat. I think, actually, you just need to say it like that. But to think of where they're taking humanity and how this will affect us in every way, shape, and form when you deprive us of the natural things. It's like, what fish or whales eating plankton and stuff like that, right? That's their basic. That's what they eat forever. All of a sudden, what are you gonna do? You're gonna take the plankton and put cockroach sort of, I don't know, artificially grown cockroach, synthetic bio, powder or whatever, like you can't do that without having a massive effect on the animals that consume it. So this stuff is we're human guinea pigs, and we have been all our lives, but now we're going into a completely new, different era of this. And
yeah, they've been feeding us their experiments for a long time, but now they want to make everything that. And what happens? And just like in the new video that I did, George Church even said, or wait, was it George Church or that other guy that said that if we do this on a large scale, it's at our peril. If they're not careful. Yeah, those are the people that are doing it.
I saw the one that you put up there. The last one you put up, I think it was, right? It was just the other day. And it's like these people, they were so joyful in discussing.
People should watch that whole talk. It's like 2+ hours.
It's just nuts. It's like, whoa.
They're excited.
They're excited by
all their plans that they've been working on for so long. But yeah, Tetrick here, like he's taking a page from Coca-Cola. Just he wants the whole food system to be better now as we come out of this crisis.
It's an interesting name too, Tetrick.
Yeah.
And it's Mary Ellen Shoup here who wrote the article. But while there may not be a handbook on how to carry out on with the international expansion amid the global health pandemic, CEO and founder of Eat Just, these names, Incorporated, Josh Tetrick, is compartmentalizing the endeavor into near and long-term priorities while taking a page from Coca-Cola's Global Operations Playbook. Wow, this is a good model for you. Get people to drink poison every day. Just announced several new global partnerships this morning, which will bring into its proprietary mung bean-based vegan egg alternative to new markets across North America, Latin America, Europe, and East Asia, with the goal of having just egg, except
it's not even
there's
eggs.
no eggs.
Yeah. They
egg.
used to be Hampton
What are you eating?
Creek.
I'm eating just egg.
Yeah.
What's in it? There's insect larvae and plant-based this, and so just egg for sale in these regions by the end of Q2 2021. In the near term, the most important thing is making sure our own team of partners are protecting themselves and their family members. That's more important than getting set up to sell in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
He cares so much.
They've had their Made Just platform for a while that they to make this go everywhere, like all the knockoff brands and all of the different countries around the world that are able to all of a sudden make their plant-based meats and their fake eggs and whatnot. And it's because they've given the technology, and it's just computer programs basically program things and they've shared. They're so sharing. It's wonderful.
Yeah, the reality is that this is a huge element of the whole operation, is because like everything's being reset, right? Like they want to phase out free enterprise capitalism. They want to bring in a virtual currency, global currency. That's going to be tied to your Bill Gates tattoo, basically, right? Sort of thing. They want to usher in all these things. So they're going to bring in a complete surveillance state, the facial ID, the drones, the 5G network being rolled out everywhere at the exact same time as rapidly as possible, and a complete change of our diet. And so, I've tried to highlight it, and I've covered it many times on my shows, how they're restricting the food. And like, just for instance, the forcing the dairy farmers to dump their milk, which is it's so stupid, right? It's like, why? Yeah, and then at the same time, you go to the grocer to buy your milk, and they're saying you can only take 1 or 2 cartons.
Yep, even at our co-op, that's what it's like right now. But one of our state reps was saying how, if you see a store that's doing that, tell them that they should not be putting limits on milk. So,
yeah, I mean, you could try and challenge it for sure, and you should. But nonetheless, this is all orchestrated chaos. It's they're getting us. They're transitioning everything. So they're using this massive event. It's been very well planned out, obviously, right? And so this is one of the major elements, is a complete change of our diet, getting us on to all of these lab concocted, frankenfoods, and getting us to cheer it on.
And it's just a part of it. I should push us on to the next thing, because it's already after 4.
Okay, yeah. What's the next thing?
Sorry,
here?
The next one on there, digital technology to cushion the pandemic blow. So this, I don't know what I was looking for when this came up, but it takes you to the next link, which is about digital ID and payments. To that, all of this is based on, they say it over and over again in this Bill and Melinda Gates backed thing that goes through the developing world. Like, they've already built this whole system that is all hinging on the digital ID, which goes to your phone, and then the coverage, so 5G, and then the business or the people to government payments. Those are big.
The symbolism is amazing here.
Yeah.
You've got your pyramid here in the center, and you've got your hexagon. And then you've also got your sort of kundalini as well at the same time. And then you see down here, Center for Global Development. Of course, right? See, that's the reality that all of humanity needs to realize. I feel reality that everybody needs to realize. The problem that we have is people don't understand who runs the world. And if you look at these global organizations, you can see the whole plan being played out. It's like it all is there. They've written the whole script basically. And this is what we've been looking into for so many years and showing is that this whole thing is all part of their orchestration. So you can see it. They're not hiding it from you. And they're saying, how can digital ID and payments improve state capacity and effectiveness here?
And it's not terribly exciting. It's very repetitive. It's 130 pages long. I'm about halfway through, but it's over and over again how you got to have that digital ID. You got to have better coverage. And I mean, Peter Diamandis, the co-creator of Singularity University, he and other things, the X Prize, but he said recently, a few months ago maybe, that quietly they've been getting cell phones to everyone, that everybody on the planet now, as much as they talk about and hear a few-year-old data saying that that some people are still without, according to Diamandis, that's not the case anymore. But yeah, the ID, the coverage, and then the money going back and forth. Lots of the people to government payments and how it's just nobody slips through the cracks with this stuff.
Yeah.
But really, I was only showing it because there's the plans already laid out, and here's how they talked about. And they thank Bill and Melinda 2 times in the space of 2 paragraphs in the beginning.
Wow.
There. They're like, we're really grateful. But for supporting
that's
work.
just crazy. So
Yeah.
Did you want me to look at any particular thing in here, or
not
just,
really?
Just okay.
Yeah, it's just in case people want to look at that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was the big thing. This is the plan to save everything. That's the guy that kind of looks like he's wearing a lot of makeup, but not him. The guy he's talking to in this interview is a guy named Saul Griffith.
This guy?
Yeah. And would you know, he just happened to be closing up the end stages of publishing his book right about this whole topic of how we can solve all of these problems with pandemics and the climate emergency. That and he worked with DARPA back in 2014 on Ebola, and like the guy on the left there, he calls it what did he call it? The event, the drill at 1805, I think in there he called it the drill.
1805.
Yeah.
Let's see here if we can get it.
Although we won't be able to hear it probably.
Well, I got the caption on, so.
Oh, okay, good.
Maybe then.
Yeah, maybe it'll be right. But they're saying that this is the warm up for worse pandemics. That when he worked with DARPA in 2014, it was he did a rapid rehydration and then these like inflatable isolation tents that have multiple rooms. And so they can put you in there. And they said it's for ICUs, for hospitals and elderly care facilities. And then they just had to stick their hands in the big gloves to be able to access you. Yeah. And that the money died out and people weren't so excited about it after a while. And so it's just been waiting. But then, he was asked to get back into it, and now they've got it at the University of Nebraska that's working on developing these things. But he said that he was approached in mid-2019 to start working on this again, and then he started that in December, and that they wanted him to take this thing that was supposed to take 18 months and do it in 18 days, and that poof, all of a sudden it wasn't theoretical anymore, that it was happening.
That's
now.
A great find that you found this. It's only got like 20 something views on it.
I subscribe to some really
Tom
weird
found
things.
It,
yeah, I saw that Tom was on there. Yeah.
Oh, he's like, he reminds me of the guy from MySpace there.
Yeah,
he's like your friend, the guy with the white t-shirt. But let's just see what he says here.
Yeah.
Oh,
the bow drill.
Yeah. The Ebola drill. So, he actually says the drill, and folks, maybe some of you are newer to my work, but I did massive amounts of work in the 2014 Ebola, and I'll tell you, the whole thing was staged. It was absolutely staged, from Africa to United States to France, everywhere they staged the entire thing. So it was a drill, and it was my belief then that the drill was for that what they're doing now. This is the real deal that they're doing now, and not that there isn't anything. I mean, not not that it's a complicated sort of event here, dealing with this Kobe sort of virus thing that I think, by and large, it's being completely orchestrated as well, and that it's just probably mostly people dying of regular pneumonia and other sort of common coronaviruses that are all getting rubber stamped with corona, and they're inflating the numbers and all that. But
oh yeah, and on that, the cold and flu season, totally a normal thing. And I know we
yeah,
talked about this before, but I keep seeing it that they're saying it's the cytokine storms that's taking people down, and their lungs are filling with fluid. They're drowning in their immune response. Well, remember, people, not that I'm an expert, but you can look into this for yourself, and you should. My herbalist that I've been training with says that the things that people think are go-tos for being sick, elderberry and echinacea and honey, that all three of those things are only safe if the sick is in your head, but if it moves to your chest, you're going to amplify the sick. You're going to cause the cytokine storm, because those are all cytokine enhancing herbs and things, and that you need to switch to like garlic and turmeric and ginger. But look into that, because people know that elderberry, I mean, I would think, I'd never even heard of that before Dr. Jones told me about it. And I always knew, well, not always, but I'd known for years, elderberry, that's a go-to. Echinacea, that's a go-to. But if people are taking it because, they got the flu or whatever, they're only making it worse. So
yeah, I remember I used it one time way back when, echinacea, and
I love
it
echinacea.
did make you feel better, but it also kept the whole thing around much longer. And it was like you just kept taking it, and it's like, yeah, I feel a little bit better, but it's not going away.
Plants are no joke. I mean, they're powerful medicine. You got to know how to use them. Shouldn't just be winging it, but they're definitely better than pills. But so Saul, the guy he's talking to here, you've got to hear his plan. He looked to history for his book. He looked to history and the Great Depression for like how we handled these things. And he said that the thing that brought us out of the Great Depression, I don't know, I didn't look into it, he did, but was the public works and the infrastructure rebuild and the creation of the modern day mortgage and being able to finance vehicles from like GM and stuff. And that the Federal Housing Authority was created, I think he said 1934, the Fannie Mae, to allow people to spend loads of money, but at super low interest rates. So what he is proposing in his book that just happened to be ready now is that we can save the planet and save the economy by having a massive infrastructure bill put together that looks like a financing package for people to be able to buy and retrofit their homes for like electric heat pumps and solar panels and all get electric vehicles. And that the added bonus is he works a lot with the Department of Energy, and that when they switch to having the electric heat pumps and the solar and the batteries and the electric vehicles, that those are all able to be turned into like a blockchain grid, that the deal would be that you're allowing when I don't need power, but my neighbor does, so everybody's hooked up together, and it making little local like power plants, basically, instead of the big generation elsewhere to do it small, but you have to share. And that this would make us accomplish the Paris commitments way earlier. But how can we do it? Because people wouldn't go for the government going way in debt. Private banks, private individuals will loan the capital, and we can, because he said that to just focus on solving the pandemic issue is a drop in the bucket. We need something big. What's big? Go Green Deal, the new Green Deal thing. And that this is how they say this is how the U.S. beat Russia in the Cold War, because we had all this, all the people were so wealthy and happy, and it was easy. But this would solve the jobs crisis, he's saying, because most of the solar, I think he said 50% of the solar installations are by like mom and pop companies. And yeah, he's saying this would create 20 to 30 million jobs over 10 years, but that retrofit everything. And then some homes are just not going to be worth it. So I imagine there's some lovely high rises they could build.
It's all in the timeline of Agenda 2032.
Absolutely.
So this is what we're seeing, folks, and the warning signs were everywhere. I mean, behind the scenes, they've been orchestrating all this stuff. It's just hasn't been as in your face until right at this moment, or right this year, basically, with the whole coronavirus. Now, all of a sudden, everything sustainable development is being pushed everywhere as the solution, right? And a complete restructuring of everything, our economy, our food, right? Our energy, everything is being transitioned. And
Yep.
so the goal is to have this all in place by 2030. And then by that time,
And he's saying we could crush that goal.
yeah, exactly. So that's very interesting that you were able to catch this one.
Yeah, there's actually, that channel is super interesting. There's a talk on there on the cultured meat stuff that I have so many screenshots and notes from that,
Reinvent.
but I haven't gotten it
I
done.
just
But
stubbed
people
them.
should really, yeah, definitely
They're gonna be
interesting.
like, oh look, Jeff C just.
Yeah.
But
Seriously.
yeah, that's very interesting. I'll have to listen to this one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've got it bookmarked here. Whoop, that one we did. You wanted to show something that we
Yes.
discussed before?
Yeah, we talked about you've been talking about the contact tracing
Yeah.
for a while, and we talked about it right at this point on the link to this document is on my channel under this show. I have the link there, but the mirror of it. But yeah, that they were using it says Telefonica research in Spain. Weren't you just talking about Spain? But that
Yep.
they're working with this United Nations Global Pulse in Colombia for Zika tracking and in Mexico for H1N1, and that that they were using the phone contacts and the text messages and all the data connections in order to be able to track and follow the outbreaks and whatnot, identify human movements. And when you go down into the source for this talk, it goes to this: can mobile phone traces help shed light on the spread of Zika in Colombia, which I think is the next link down that I sent you. And when you look through that, that's from 2018. And when you're looking through that, what does it say is the thing to couple with these call detail records is what they're calling it, is that the census data is, which I know we're doing that here. It's a horrible, look at that.
Wow.
They don't want you to read that.
They don't.
Obviously.
They don't like paragraphs.
No, I had to print it, and I've got lines making it.
Like,
but
yeah.
They call it digital traces that they're being collected.
It's United Nations too, eh?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Global Pulse. So again, all their, they set the table for what they're bringing in. Like it astounds me when I'm showing the contact tracing, and I'm showing all around the world. Like here in Montreal, they say, "Wow, the Jewish general here in Montreal has teamed up with some researchers in Israel to come up with this incredible app." And then Australia, researchers in Australia have come up with this incredible app. And then, all over the world, wherever it is, Spain, Spain is developing, like they're making it look like all these apps are just being developed. It's just like all of a sudden, because of what's happening, people just got together and started making these things, when really this has all been planned out.
Oh yeah.
And you're seeing it here from this article from about almost 2 years ago to the date, where they talked about using this whole thing. And this is huge, because the contact tracing is a step into the total global surveillance grid that they want to implement. And that's before we get the brain chips mandatory, or the Bill Gates. First, we're going to get the contact tracing, which means your phone they're going to make you use your phone. And I showed this. I don't know if you saw that video that I did with the Jaws thing, where the fake couple there that fake family, and the woman's using the smartphone to enter through these zones.
Yeah.
So the checkpoints that they're establishing, I don't want to say this because I don't want to freak people out, but there is a chance that these checkpoints are never going to be taken down, and they're just going to be popping up everywhere.
Is it the geofencing? You're not allowed out of there.
Yeah. So, and again, the checkpoints will be at your grocers. They'll be at buildings. You might try to get into a office building or something like that. You have to go through a checkpoint, and you'll have to have, like right now, you need your papers, right? Where are your papers? If you're driving around non-essential, Montreal. Somebody had sent me. I didn't get a chance to show it, but I'm gonna show it now. But people are being arrested and people are being fined for taking pleasure trips, like going driving up to the woods or something like that, right? To go for a hike or whatever. Um, and that's it. You're going through checkpoints, and checkpoints are ostensibly there for the whole Kobe thing, but really, no. The checkpoints are all part of this massive surveillance grid that they want to lay out. And so until they get the microchips in everybody, until they get the brain chips, they're going to need first the contact tracing. And again, it's all incremental steps. It's just like going from having your computer that watches what you do on the internet to having your mobile phone, right, walking around. Now your mobile phone is tracking everything you do, and they have been tracking all of us, right? They just don't tell you, or it's illegal, but they do it anyways. Now they're basically telling you, guess what, we're gonna track all of you, and you're not going to have a choice. So like before, where it was like, well, you could walk around without a phone, or you could turn off all your location services, or you could put your phone in a Faraday pouch, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't believe if you turn anything off that it's going to, okay, we've turned it off.
Yeah.
I don't
Like
believe them.
I'll tell you personally, I never take that type of tech around with me because I figured I'd be targeted and they would track me. So like people should think about this, because what they're going to do with the contact tracing is, again, as I said, you're going to want to go get your essentials. They're going to say, okay, we're going to let you go back to work, some of you, right? And they're going to make sure that the people that go back to work have you're going to have to take the tests, right? For the virus. That's one prerequisite. Now the tests in a lot of places are causing people to get sick, which is a whole nother kettle of fish that I'm not going to get into right now. But the test is also about DNA collection, because they're collecting everyone's DNA, right?
Well, they need it for the bioeconomy. We didn't participate enough. We didn't give it up to be able. There's so much hinges on them having our DNA, just like all the other critters in life.
They want all our DNA, and they've been, like in Canada, for instance, they gave us legalization of marijuana. I mean, do you think they gave that to you because they wanted you to get a nice high in the evening? I mean, you're just stupid if you think that. They gave it to you so they could track you. They want you to buy your pot from their distribution centers, which are genetically modified and whatever else they're doing with them. And then they're using the facial ID. And once you go in and you buy from one of these places, you're going to be tracked forever, and you're going to have that with you forever, sort of thing. But they're also saying with the driving, right? It's illegal to drive while you're high. And then, of course, it stays in your system. And the only way that they're going to be able to properly detect it is through DNA. So they now the police can ask for your DNA at a roadside check. I think you still have the legal right to refuse, but most people will comply. And I was showing years back, Camille, like in 2015, I was showing places like Nova Scotia and Canada where the police were just doing these roadside, it was astonishing. This is like 5 years ago, where in Rainbow Unicorn Land, they were actually just police that were pulling people over and asking them to spit in a tube to give up their DNA for no reason other than just they can.
That's nuts.
The RCMP in Rainbow Unicorn Land here, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, which is like the state police for most of Canada, they have been trying to establish a DNA database since like 2001 or something like that, right? And so like these are all parts of how they want to be able to control everything that we do. They don't want any freedom to exist anymore. In fact, what we're witnessing is full-on tyranny, like the destruction of freedom. But the thing is, they don't want you to look at it that way. They're trying to brainwash people, just like they brainwash most of the Greta generation sort of thing, into thinking this is good and this is going to help humanity, just like they were, we're going to eat the plant-based burgers. It's going to make us healthier, and it's going to save the planet, when it's just nonsense. It's not going to make you healthier. It's going to make you much worse. And it's not going to save any planet, because there's nothing to be really saved. This is all just their orchestrations. In order to bring in their new world order, they have to, create the problems for the solutions. And the solutions.
And they don't want to save nature. They want to recreate it all. They want to mess with every last little bit of it. It's such a joke how they sell it, because it's not at all what they're doing.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
very open about
exactly,
it too.
right?
Yeah.
They're messing with all these species on this planet in many ways, and it's like, they just want to be able to control everything basically. And it's nuts when I do these shows with you, because we get into like we were talking about the satellites and how they're going to use the satellites in the future, along with the nanotech that they want to put into everything. They want to monitor everyone's crops.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and Elon Musk is saying what 37,000 satellites they're going to put up for this 5G sort of surveillance grid that they want to set up around the world.
We should go to the next link then.
Yeah,
because they say that 2020 is a huge year for their launches of all the things. I mean, I don't know if everything is listed on here, but it's SpaceX isn't the only one putting up these constellations. They've made, I mean, they've made it to be so inexpensive that there's so many. I mean, I looked into 5G and the satellites and all of that connection a few years ago, and it was huge back then. I can only imagine how many more have signed up to put up their little disposable satellites that then they just come back in and burn up in the atmosphere. What happens then? That's what happens.
Well, yeah, it depends. I mean, if they're really small, they'll burn up, sort of thing, and that's probably the way that they're doing it. But
how many will burn up, and what's in them, and
where they go? And in this show, Walking Dead, which is all NWO, of course, they're showing in the future when civilization collapses and people are eating each other, sort of thing, that a lot of these satellites are crashing down to Earth.
Yeah.
Creating chaos and whatnot.
Well, they have planned, like some of them when they decommission them, it's like this planned jettison to the ocean off New Zealand. Like out there's this area where nobody goes. It's on NASA's website. There's a little map, where they crash them.
Yeah, you probably would think that maybe the flat Earth and things like that are put out so people don't really pay attention to what they're doing in space. You know what I'm saying? Oh
yeah, sure.
Like that they unleash these psyops to make you believe that there's it's all fake up there, right? No, they're doing all kinds of stuff up there. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to think. And yeah, the satellites are extreme. I mean, I don't know how powerful the satellites that they're using for surveillance are, but I'm pretty sure they can focus in on a dime if they need to, sort of thing, right? Like the
yeah, you always hear like fly on a bumper.
yeah, kind of thing, right? Like we're in a realm now where they can watch you from space. Also, with the fires, for instance, that happened in California and in more recently in Australia and stuff like that. It's well known that they have the tech to create these things from space, sort of thing. So like the type of weaponry that they can use to strategically target, of course, with the targeting weather modification that they can use. And they're using this. It's pretty diabolical because it's all fitting into Agenda 21, which is getting everyone to abandon the beautiful areas of the world and live in their mega cities with their 5G installations fully out there. And yeah, with the 5G too, another thing for people to consider is because like the video I did yesterday, some people are saying, well, some of those installations are 4G and all that. It doesn't really matter. 4G is horrible anyways.
Oh yeah, and all those towers on fire. Yeah, nothing to see here. That's crazy. They just like spontaneous combustion sort of thing. Wow.
Yeah.
They put those in neighborhoods. It's like,
well, they put them in schools.
Oh my gosh, I know.
There's a school. Schools.
There's a school not far from me here where the entire backside is just row upon row of antennas. It's so.
And it's like, wow. I mean, are you serious? And also with the 5G, they are what they're doing. So with the folks wondering about the 5G, because I get a lot of questions like that. They're installing the 5G on the other towers that are already up, as well as many other places. So like street lamps,
street lamps,
and they're much smaller. The actual 5G sort of antenna sort of things that they're using. They're not the same size as the 3G and the 4G sort of thing.
Oh yeah, and if you go to the last link there, they show the little ones that go on top of the poles, and they're talking the last link, the Crown Castle one, but
There you go. Yeah.
That one. Yeah. that the guy from Crown Castle, I show a clip of him in the one, the End of the World as We Know It video, and he's talking about when they deployed in Houston, because that's where they're at, that when they deployed in Houston, that this one park downtown, they hid the antennas everywhere, that they said it didn't change the aesthetics at all, that you'd never know they were there.
In
that
fact,
they're
yeah.
I mean,
one of the things that they're using is like they're making fake trees and fake
yeah.
palm trees and stuff like that, or they're sticking them in, like they'll stick up a statue, or they'll stick up again a light pole or something like that. And as the Moore's law with the tech, right? Every 2 years, the processing power doubles, sort of thing. That the tech gets smaller and more concealed. What I actually I didn't show this on the video that I uploaded last night. But in England, they're putting them in sewers and stuff like that as well.
Well, yeah, you got to have that coverage everywhere, right?
Yeah.
I'm working on a video that is sort of, well, it is connected to this, but
do you have an EMF reader? I think
my mom does.
One?
She just got one. She drove past that school earlier
she told
today.
me. Yeah,
she's like, it's off the chart.
I'm just wondering, because I was researching to buy one, and so what they're saying with the frequencies is that the 5G operates at a much higher frequency. It's like the gigahertz, right? It's like above 3 gigahertz or 4 gigahertz up to like 60 gigahertz sort of thing. So you need like, but you can still detect, certain signals that are coming off. But apparently it's difficult to find the type of detectors, and they're expensive. That can really show you the extent of how powerful the 5G is in your neighborhood, sort of thing. So,
well, and I wonder if with the readings, and I don't know, I'm not an expert, I have no idea, I've just looked into it some, but that I'm wondering if it's live. I know that there are some cities like Houston talks about it, and I thought Philadelphia, was supposed to be live for 5G, maybe some places in California at least. But I'm wondering if, because there is an aspect involving the satellites, and maybe they have is it the geostationary ones that are just over those areas, but everywhere else, I wonder if maybe it'll all be able to be seen on those little readers more with when they activate it all and it's working together, not just.
Yeah, I showed the where was it there? I'll see if I can bring that up. 5G Rogers. They showed a picture of, here, check this out. It gives you an idea. Again, I hate actually, I'll bring that up in a new tab here. And yeah, you see, this is Vancouver here. Mm-hmm. And you see how this is, again, too,
we net thrown over top of it.
Yeah. Like, this is a very powerful symbolism, because it's how it's all being laid out, that there will be no place to hide, basically. Everything will be connected, and it's all being laid out right now, in my own neighborhood. It's unbelievable, going through and seeing the 5G being installed, and Trump signing those 2 5G bills.
Around here, they're calling because they're being open about that they're rolling out locally the free Wi-Fi for everyone.
Yay!
And it's the opportunity zones. Federal opportunity zones that they picked different neighborhoods and whatnot. I didn't read the Trump things, but I saw it, but I didn't read the Trump things. So I don't know if that's the wording that they used, but that's how we've got several around here.
And I think for people to understand, it's more the cumulative effects. It's not like, walking out 5G is going to fry you instantly, but it's like.
And the absolute surveillance. Everything
they can
is
look through your walls
in this stuff.
Yeah.
It's
and they're all connected to your smart meters, because like they gave the smart meters first, right? And they didn't give us an option. Like it was like me. I came home one day from work, and there it was. They just came and they gave it to you for free. Wow, awesome! So
I had power put in at my land there, and they wouldn't even install it if I didn't get a smart meter. And on that, I should mention, where did I see it? Oh gosh, I wish I knew where. But one of the things that I was looking at was talking about the the resources, that how they have to be able to put a price on all of the resources. And I had a well dug last year, and the man was telling me that the state had informed him that starting this year, they had to start putting meters on all the wells.
Oh, they're so diabolical.
Yeah.
Yeah, here in Montreal, just like this past, I think it was December, or no, it was, yeah, maybe, no, it was like past late fall, early winter, October. They passed a bill in which all pets have to be microchipped, like all of them, like cats, dogs, rabbits, doesn't matter, all have to be microchipped. Plus, they all have to be spayed and neutered.
Yeah.
And this is enforceable by massive fines, like $2,000 on a first offense sort of thing if you get caught. You're and again, it's all part of getting you accustomed to their surveillance grid and everything being connected. But yeah, they can track you with your pets, they can track you with your automobile, they can track you with your smartphone. Pretty soon they're going to be able to track you with your Bill Gates tattoos, which is the next thing coming. In with the whole solutions that they're bringing in with this Kobe thing. So we're looking at a full-on surveillance, Orwellian, beyond, George Orwell. It's like going back to 1984 would be kind of pleasant because you could hide in the corner from your frickin' screen, right?
Seriously, people should read that. The Circle, Dave Eggers, not watch the movie because it wasn't anywhere like the book really, but that's the techno grid nightmare, cameras everywhere. Everybody's The Circle. And they were looking for completion. They wanted
those what are they called? The cyberpunk novels. I read a bunch of them when they were they started coming out in the 90s. And they made it very trendy in sci-fi. Neil Stephenson and people like that. Are you familiar with those authors?
No.
And yeah, the whole cyberpunk culture and the hacking culture and all this stuff, showing a future of transhumanism sort of thing, but making it more palatable or acceptable sort of thing, or actually kind of cool, right? Making that type of cyber world as like something desirable, that they've been doing this for a very long time.
That other book that I know I'd mentioned to you in Anonymous, that it was sold as a positive look at the Brave New World, and it is Marge Piercy, A Woman on the Edge of Time, and that's the example of how they could do it right. But it's a pretty interesting book, if all the way through to the end. It's odd, it's pretty rough in spots, but it's the positive view. So.
Yeah, well, I imagine that they want you to believe that
it's from the 70s. I think so.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, I used to read a ton of sci-fi, and you get a lot of you see a lot of the predictive obviously, right? It's uncanny, especially with the the Soylent Green and everything that's rolling out right now. It's like you watch these movies. Like again, I would say to you, Camille, definitely check out Demolition Man.
I know I saw it long ago, but I'll have to watch it again.
Yeah, it's probably one of the more important ones now to check out, because so much of what is in the film is happening, or is being set up right now, like the no touching. And you had Dr. Fauci come out and say no more handshakes ever again, and that he's never going to shake anybody's hand. I showed this like a month or two ago where Dr. Oz was saying the exact same thing. It's over, the age of handshaking, the age of kissing. And so, yeah, we're looking at this brave new world in which they're going to dehumanize us in every way, shape, and form. And they're eliminating parents and families. They're deconstructing everything, and they're taking control. And
the way they do that in Women on the Edge of Time is pretty interesting.
Women on
Woman on the Edge of Time. You gotta read it.
Women on the Edge of Time is
Marge Piercy.
Marge Piercy. Women on the Edge. Is it feminism?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The future without men.
Well, it's they're like Jewish novels. They are. It's
New York Times bestseller.
I don't know, but it is. Like I said, it's kind of rough, but it's totally worth the read.
Yeah, no, a lot of the sci-fi writers would be New World Order shills, and throughout history as well. I mean, you could say that about Huxley and Orwell as well, right? That Orwell worked for the BBC, for instance, and
Yeah.
was basically involved in the propaganda of the masses anyways, so he had total insight to this. But you wonder why they give us those novels, because you'd think everybody that read those novels would be horrified by what's going on right now and would make the connections and say, yeah, this is terrible.
No,
But
but just like I showed those people saying in this last video, they're taking their ideas from
yeah,
Hollywood and from these novels. It's like, oh my God,
or
that's really unsettling.
or that was always part of the plan.
Oh, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. That those could have been put there, and then just
Yeah.
these useful idiots
Predictive
that go
programming.
to Harvard and MIT, and they're like, I'm going to save the world. Look, oh, what a great idea, Jurassic Park. And they laugh. Oh my gosh. They're so
Michael Crichton.
Yeah. Oh boy. Don't get me started.
Yeah, I know you're reading all his books.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Is there
I
anything
mean,
else
when they're talking about how they're harvesting all kinds of ideas from books, it does make me look at State of Fear again and go, well, when did they say everything started to really ramp up? Because if they're getting ideas from books, and that's talking about how to intentionally cause all this destruction that they blame on global warming or whatever. Anyway, another interesting book.
Yeah, I have to
yeah.
read that one.
Yeah,
always
slacker.
going on about that. Slacker.
I know, it
Doing
takes
shows
longer.
all the time.
I know.
Is there anything else you want to talk about before we close the show? Because I know you probably have to go
Yeah.
at some point because it's almost 5:00.
Yeah, I probably should go. I don't know. There were a couple other things over there. The one of the tech companies, they had said on This Week in Google that it was like all the tech companies canceling their events that kind of started the
Oh, you had the pregnancy thing too.
Oh yeah, that too. That's sad. Yeah, that's
so and they've been doing this too. I showed a few of the articles and videos, CNN as well, where CNN had this whole the why women should not get pregnant. And it's so diabolical because you know what? If there's one good thing that could come out of, I mean, out of what they're doing to us, it's that families come together and, men and women do the, what they're born to do, basically breed. And, good things come out of that. But they don't want you, so they're putting this fear. And I showed with CNN, they had this, they had a whole bunch of just terrible crisis actors talking about how terrified they were of getting pregnant and what a horror show it would be, and would the hospital even be able? Would you have to, deliver the baby yourself and stuff like that?
The birth strike lady saying, "I told you so."
Yeah, birth strike again. All of this. Depopulation being one of the major objectives of this NWO, deconstruction of the family, and just that fear of pregnancy is something that they programmed into women forever. I mean, they've been doing this. Most of your women's magazines are you just look at the covers and it's a fear of pregnancy. A lot of it, right? They use the symbolism and the words and stuff to invoke fear of being pregnant, sort of thing. And then there's a lot of movies. There's a lot of them, Camille, that feature that sort of theme where a woman is stuck, in labor or something when the apocalypse is happening.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, they do this all the time. They do it in the television shows and they do it in the movies. And this works into people's psyche, right? It's all designed to, like, oh my gosh, the last thing you want to do is get pregnant now. Somebody had sent me a video too of a guy that was using a bullhorn outside of a Planned Parenthood location, and he said like maybe 2 or 3 things to women. All right, did you murder your baby today? And the police came and arrested him right away.
Oh yeah.
So this that's interesting too. A campaigner holds a placard saying women with unplanned pregnancies have a right to choose, and I don't know what language that is. She looks like she's Asian. And then, they're showing this is, I guess, does it say where it is?
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's hard to see.
Anyways, wherever it is. But, and what was the other thing we had here? Well, that one I can't get to because they
That's all right. That one's just saying that climate change is causing the viruses to
Yeah, they love
Destroying
that.
the habitat. Yeah,
Were they saying millions of new viruses will be released because of climate change?
that's right.
It's the
We
stupidest stuff ever.
that guy Saul's got the plan though, so shouldn't be worried. Just stick to his plan, right?
And it's nuts too, because you live all your lives. We all have lived our lives without this fear of. Oh, I mean, like they've been programming us with this fear of virus through all the movies and television shows, right? And but really, every day conducting our lives for hundreds of years. I mean, yeah, you could say Spanish flu and stuff like that, but still, people went about. They didn't crash the economy for the Spanish flu, for instance. They
Yeah,
did some restrictions and stuff like that, but really, you just life goes on, right? Sort of thing. And then now we have this thing, and they shut down everything, and they use it in every way, shape, and form. And
they
we
were
got the
saying that the tech companies were the ones that started the ball rolling on the fear of
yeah.
can't gather, and it's just so handy that they win over and over again in this, because all of their synthetic biology requires that computational design and everything. That, I mean, the telemedicine comes with this, and it will just be completely dependent on this technology in every area of our life. And they
Yeah.
started the scare.
Do you know it's interesting too? The cancel culture, which has been promoted for the last couple years, really kind of peaking just before this whole thing happens. And I would say 100% that is predictive programming, getting you used to things being canceled.
Yeah.
Right. And just cancel culture, people being canceled for things they say, just offensive sort of tweets and social media posts and whatnot, people losing their jobs, their careers and stuff like that. And then now all of a sudden you have cancel culture everywhere, and all the culture is canceled. Like here in Montreal, it's bad. It's really bad. I mean, it's bad everywhere, but Montreal is like a huge tourist town. It's the city of festivals, and there's festivals, all of them are canceled. All of them are canceled. And it's like, I know so many people that are just effed.
Yep.
Like, because that's their career, that's their money, that's their whole thing. And they've done this to all of us. And it's the most, as I say, it's the crime of the century. This is the most evil plot in the history of the world. What they're doing, in my opinion, and it is people need to do whatever you can. I mean, do you want to talk about your mom there?
Oh yeah, my mom was so fired up about the hypocrisy of our local representatives, that they weren't following the rules, and she was caught in the news, and my mom taped the article, the picture, everything to the front of her house for everybody to see. She left copies for the mailman. I mean, she's not messing around. And everywhere she carries this stuff with her to be able to hand out to people. Mom's
the same thing happened here with our leaders, or two.
I saw your video.
Yeah, the prime minister and the opposition leader both went and they all do this though. It's
do as we say, not as we do.
It's like when they're showing Deborah Bricks and Fauci and Trump and all them, and they're rubbing each other's backs and shoulders and stuff, and they're getting up, and then they're telling you handshakes are over, and none of them are wearing masks, and none of them are doing the same things they're expecting or they're demanding that we all do. And we have our leaders here in Canada that are, going to their summer homes and for Easter and having the whole family and, the Easter egg hunts and everything. And yet they're telling us, oh, you got to do it on Skype. Skype Easter dinner on Skype. And they're saying this is here to stay. By and large, that's the message, is that it's here to stay, and that wave and wave and wave is coming. So they're saying, and they're also saying, folks, I hate to be a harbinger of bad news, but they're saying years with this whole thing, and years means it's never going to end. It means that they're just going to keep doing this as long as we allow them, as long as there isn't enough resistance. So the people that are going out and protesting and gathering against this, you have my support. Even though some of those movements might be controlled and co-opted and stuff like that, we need to take a stand against this while we still have an opportunity before they unfurl the entire surveillance grid that they want and everything else that they're trying to accomplish, because they're destroying. They want to just don't don't think of it just as, oh, they want to survey everybody and they want to do all this. They want to deconstruct what we are.
Oh yeah, reinvent us.
Yep.
That's their word.
Like children not touching, people not handshaking.
It's terrorism what they've been doing
Yeah.
to us. Absolutely.
It's evil as can be. The handshake is so important for communities and trust and friendship, and that physical contact between people is what makes us human. And you deprive people of that. You think of animals, you see, whenever you see that, like you see in the zoos, when they say, oh, we're trying to move this animal in, say it's like an elephant or something, but they want to reintroduce it to other elephants, but because it's been alone for like 20 years or something, right? It's like a really complicated thing because the psychology of the elephant is not prepared to be socialized with others. And this, we see the effect that it has on animals. But they're doing this to us all. And like children, for instance, I mean, how evil is it that you go, I mean, just think about it. I don't want you to think, I just want you to think about the symbolism of police tape all over your slides and swings and all that.
It's so sad. Hey, I gotta go.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I put the link to my website there too. I don't know if you want to show that, but pleasestoptheride.com.
How can I show it? Oh yeah.
I linked you. So pleasestoptheride.com. It's easier to find than the YouTube perhaps, but it's there. So I could hand it out on cards really, but I finally got it updated yesterday.
Can you leave a comment in the chat?
I will right now. I wonder if I can even put that in there. I don't know if it would let me.
Maybe I can. Let's see here.
Tried. It shows, but I don't know if anybody else can see it.
Actually, I probably can't because I'm not signed in with this. Let me just try here. I have to. I don't think I have any mods here.
No, and
it did work
over there. It did. You could see it.
I can see it, but maybe nobody else can. Because I'm signed in here with Jeff Censored, but I'm doing the show because I'm doing it through whatchamacallit.
Yeah.
StreamYard, so I'm not signed in with the account here. But anyways, yeah, go check out. So I put her link in the description there, folks. There, so go and sub Camille.
Thanks for having me on again. I hope we can do it again soon.
Blast. It's always awesome to do these shows with you. And thanks so much, Camille, for coming on. And I guess I'll let you go. I'll talk to the chat for a little bit. So
okay.
I'll let you go, and we'll keep in touch, obviously, behind the scenes. All right.
Thank you, Jeff. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Yeah, awesome. Great. Thanks, everyone, for showing up to watch the show today. And, it's very very important stuff that's going on. It's absolutely crazy what's going on. Just trying to keep up with all the madness is... it's a bit overwhelming. I am kind of a little overwhelmed with all the information coming in, but I don't want people to stop because then, I miss out on things. It's like I put up the Defending Utah. I remember Kevin sent me the video and I opened it, but I didn't get a chance to watch it because it was too long and I was prepping for a show. And then you forget about it because it's like all this stuff happens. And it's like you get all these other links in, and then other people start sending it to me, and I'm like, oh my god, yeah, this is a link that so and so sent me a few days ago. So it happens like that. I get a little bit behind on things, but yeah, we're trying to do our best to just get as much information out as possible. And yeah, if you like the show, maybe you can come and support me. If you're not supporting me, my Patreon link's in the description. It's really important for folks to support the show because this is what I do full time. I lost my job with the whole Kobe thing, my regular job. So I'm a full-time podcaster now. So the only way I can get paid is through Patreon. So if you can sign up for as little as $2 a month. I think most people can probably afford that. If you can, maybe you want to put $5 or $10 in if you can. I'm going to be putting on Patreon. I have a lot of different things going on there. There's going to be a lot more. I'm going to start uploading my music there. So you'll be able to get my music, download it for yourself if you want to listen to it and stuff. There'll be polls and they'll be doing live shows with patrons in the very near future once I get all that set up. I'm also looking to be able to do streams on multiple platforms. So we'll see. But, with the censorship and everything that goes on, you never know. I always have this phobia that I'm going to lose my channels. It's a terrible thing. It's like for so many years, it's channel after channel after channel gets taken down, and then you never feel comfortable. You never feel like, oh, this could work. Anyways, so how are you guys doing? Thank you, Vicky. Thank you. Nice to see everyone there. Patricia, Goddess Love, Moon Mother, and thank you, Moon Mother. Appreciate that. And there's Ian. I don't know how to pronounce that. Thank you so much. Zanfi, I can get that part. Playing Drifter and 160 Da. Nice to see you and everyone else there. And I can't do super chat at this point. I'll see. I mean, I had it for like a few weeks and then they took it away from me. This was like years back. They're just such assholes. I'm sorry. That's the way it works. You know, the thing about super chat too is YouTube takes 30%. They're oh my god, it's like highway robbery, right? So even though it's nice to get, it's like YouTube just takes a huge chunk of that. But I'm gonna just sell some t-shirts and stuff, coffee mugs and whatever in the future. Just little things to, totally optional. I always want to make the shows available to everyone because there are people that just don't have it. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people are in very bad financial situation. I don't want to deprive anybody of the work that I'm doing because it's important to get it all out. It's just if you can support, that you should if you can, sort of thing. But anyways, yeah. What's up? And hey, have you guys been looking at the 5G? Maybe a good thing to do, I would suggest, is to make signs and flyers and stuff and just disseminate information. We've talked about it a lot. I know Stranger Than Fiction and others that I talk to behind the scenes are discussing different methods of getting information out to your neighborhood, sort of thing. And one of the things you can do is you can print flyers and you could keep it simple. You could say, like, for instance, research event 201, and then you could say 5G, for instance, the dangers of 5G. You can put little links to the scientific studies, 500 plus 1,000 studies done on EMF radiation and microwaves and how damaging it is to people. These things could really help people because most people don't understand what's going on. They're just watching the television, right? And they need to know that this is all planned. So you have to use what you can at the moment, even if it means going to a busy intersection with a sign on, sort of saying, research this, research that. Handing out flyers. Another thing you could do is get those little memory sticks, those little USB sticks. You can get them cheap. Sometimes you can get them for a couple bucks. You just fill them up with any sort of information, videos that you have, documents, PDFs, scientific studies. You can just load these things, really, even just with links and whatnot. But it's better not to put so much links because links can be erased, but put information on these little sticks and just leave them everywhere. Write something on this, watch me, important, whatever. Because if they shut down the internet, which they, is big time in the cards with Event 201, it's going to be a really difficult fight for all of us because then, if they give us, they'll do these things, right? They'll say, oh, we shut down the internet because of this, that, and that, but we're giving it back. And then you put on the internet and you're going to be like CNN. So you're going to have CNN, you're going to have the WHO, you're going to have, just the accredited sort of Green Brothers sources and whatnot. So, it's taking it to the streets. Camille's mom there. I love that story where she posted on the door of the politician or the mayor that was caught breaking the rules. Stick it to them, stick it to them. Everyone out there that's standing up for their rights, has my support fully. Everyone out there that defies this Orwellian sort of takeover is a hero in a way, because we're all, in this together. I hate using that metaphor, but I mean, it is true. So let's see here. Thanks, Jeff. Thank you. Have you researched FE? Is that flat Earth? Psychiatry is torture. Yeah, I agree. We are extremely curious about your role in the military. I was in the reserves, for crying out loud. It's silly. It's like a summer thing when I was a teen. A couple summers doing boot camp and whatnot. Yeah, that's my military role. Jeff's a military operative. No, a lot of people just go into the military when they're young because it's money for the summer sort of thing. So that's my military. It's nothing. It's a very interesting experience, though. I can tell you a lot of stories, but no. We also had 5G tower with H2 Chinese flags, and guessed it was a swastika flag if they tied it to Nazi. Yeah. Print flyers with info and use links via QR codes to playlists. Yeah, Stefan, very good. We are all targeted. Yes, we all are. Is the military just full of psychopaths, Jeff? If the military police are on our side, are we screwed? I don't think they're all psychos. I estimate 1 out of 4 is a psycho, but some people say it's higher. It's just that you're trained to do, like the military, you're trained to be a killer, right? That's it. And the boot camps are exactly the same as the movies. In fact, all the drill instructors watch those movies and then they try to one up it. So when you're in boot camp, that's what you get. You get, so what you see in, say, Full Metal Jacket, for instance, is what you get. And yeah, that's the whole the whole thing. Is like me going to the military when I was younger, it was just what you did. Like I played football, rugby, I played ice hockey, right? I mean, I was like extremely physical, fit. And going in the military was like, that was the toughest job that you could do, for like a summer job sort of thing, right? And you do that, you make money, which I had, I moved out when I was 17. I moved out of my home. So, I've been busting my ass just trying to make it by for ages sort of thing. So, anyways, could you please do a video with the summary of Event 201? Yeah, I'm going to do a whole thing on that. 5G, a lot of New York lungs were collapsing per doctor saw on video. Yep. The 5G is just nuts. It freaks me out because it's like, there's no way that we should be allowing this. I mean, I would be okay if they did all these studies and the studies said, oh, it's not so bad, or if they kept it to certain zones. But I mean, like, yeah, I mean, the 4G and 3G and all that's bad enough as it is. The Wi-Fi, all these things are very damaging to people, and they work over, it's a cumulative effect. It's not like instantaneous. It's not like, I like that faceless propagandist video where he puts on the oh boy, 5G, and then might be like that. I don't know. It's pretty bad, but they are one of the most disturbing elements of the whole scamdemic is the Bill Gates, the Donald Trump signing those 2 5G laws and being passed by both the House and the Senate. The United States, swiftly pushed through 2 5G bills that would lay out the entire grid of the 5G United States. If you think Donald Trump is your friend, I don't even know what to say. So I guess maybe you're a Q supporter. So what do we got here? I almost joined the Navy, but right when I was asked to raise my hand and say pledge, I decided not to join. Yeah, it's pretty good. Good for you. I wish I would have. Not true about the military. Only the Army and military training. I'm a former Navy. No, you go through boot camp, Jason. You're trained to kill. But I mean, yeah, it's. I was in the infantry, so you're trained to kill. That is what you're trained to kill. Is it the same level as being in the Marines or in the airborne, which they decommissioned here in Canada because of the violent level and the psychopathic sort of attitude of the airborne? So the airborne here is kind of like the Marines or the Green Berets, you say, or the Navy SEALs. Navy SEALs being like the highest level of like the best of the best when it comes to combat training. But yeah, military basic training is to teach you to be a killer. Basically, it's worse in wartime. In wartime, then they really want you to kill. So you know you would go through a basic training, go in the military, and then if you were sent to fight in a conflict, you would be trained even more, sort of thing. But yeah, it basically, with military training, it's destruction of individualism, and you are programmed into being a government sort of tool. And as Henry Kissinger stated famously, that military men are just dumb, stupid animals. You know, I mean, that's what they want. They want you to, yes, sir. You know. Anyways, I'm not, and again, don't take it the wrong way, Jason or anybody else. There's a lot of good people in the military. There's a lot of good. There obviously, right? I mean, you don't just join the military and become a psycho. It's just the nature of warfare and the nature of the military is to produce soldiers. So it's against everything that I am as a person, basically, sort of thing. Like the military is the opposite of what Jeff C believes in as a free human being. The polar opposite. Like that would be the worst sort of thing for someone like me to be in. And then there are a lot of psychos in the military. When I was in the Canadian military, our chief commander was a psycho, without a doubt, a complete psycho. He actually attacked somebody and broke their jaw. Some nasty stuff. One of my I could tell you a lot of crazy stories, and just there are psychos in the military, high up in the command. Psychos, without a doubt, without a doubt. The Canadian military is well known for that. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that. Jeff, you see all the YT tech channels shilling for 5G. Yep, made a mockery of anti-5G people. Yeah, they're just scumbags. They're all. It's just like Shilly D cheering on the whole whatchamacallit, their universal wage income and stuff like that. You got Shilly D, who is, I mean, what do you got? 65 IQ. He's a complete doofus. I mean, he is a doofus, like a retard. I wouldn't hire him to stock shelves like that. I would look at that guy and say, that guy's not worth anything, you know. He would be bad at sweeping floors, and here he is, and he's making millions every month off YouTube, shilling, just outright shilling, just regurgitating the celebrity garbage and the you know, New World Order sort of agendas, and pushing all the worst. These are terrible people. Like I would, if I saw Shilly D walking down the street, I'd go up to him. First, I'd shoulder ran him to get his attention. And then I'd go right up to his face and tell him what a scumbag he is. But, you know, in the future, you won't be able to do that stuff because you'll be picked up by the facial ID and the drones and whatnot, right? Aggressive human, not essential. Thank you, Vera. I appreciate that. Why can't we just live our lives in peace? Yes, I know. Isn't that just, it's nuts, eh? It's like nobody's, and again, nobody can escape this. It doesn't matter if you're off the grid, they'll come for you. Eh? This is a full spectrum sort of a New World Order. Did 11 years in the infantry and a tour in the Canadian Forces. I worked with a ton of great guys. Yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely. There are terrific people, some of the best people I've met. So good for you for pointing that out. Hey, Stranger Than Fiction. Nice to see you, buddy. Would you recommend learning fighting styles just in case you become knocking out? Yeah, absolutely. You cannot. Yeah, absolutely. There's no negative benefit to learning how to fight. The only negative thing is that if you become more inclined to want to fight, right? If you, like, say, if, well, you could be socio or psychopathic type person who wants to fight people. But most people that learn martial arts do it because they don't want to fight other people, right? They don't want to be, they want to be able to protect themselves, but they mostly do it so that if they are in that situation, that they'll be able to handle the situation rather than, and then it's a way of overcoming fear But yeah, I think martial arts is excellent for the most part, and I don't think there's really negative things about martial arts other than New World Order controlling the UFC and stuff like that. Um, but you wonder what they're going to do with the UFC because what do you know? You can't get close like that, sweating all over each other, right? Bleeding all over each other. It's going to be interesting to see how that comes back. Of course, probably those fighters will be the ones that will be taking the tests all the time. They're already being tested all the time, anyways, right? With the USDA and all that crap, with the steroids. I say, let them take steroids and just beat it out. I like the old school UFC days, with the chemos and the Ken Shamrocks and these hulking sort of action figure like characters coming into the ring and not as much skill, but just like looking the part sort of thing. And it's like it's all entertainment, anyways. Anyways, and you look into the fighters like John Jones, who's I would say John Jones is the best fighter in UFC history, for sure. I would say he's the most dominant fighter in UFC history. But he's also likely, at a bare minimum, he's a sociopath. And you just see with his behavior and his, driving around stoned on cocaine and alcohol and everything else and crashing into people and, just the way that he is, there's something not right about him. Like he is not, he's a deadly, basically a deadly assassin. But he's a hell of a fighter, though. I'll give him that. But he's a cheater. He's on roids. He's on all kinds of different things. Anyways, why am I talking about that? Yeah. I'm not good at following orders and have a deep seated hatred towards authority figures. I don't think I would have too much fun. No, you would not. MK says, if I could rewind my life, I would not join again. Me too. Yeah. Yes, Jeff, you are right. Men and women went to war for what? Look at our New World Order. Yeah. The elites yearn for technocracy and deep pop. They have been writing about it for generations in their own memoirs. It is written in the stone of Georgia. They want to bring those numbers. Yep. Authentic intelligence is authentic. And QAnon, probably Q for quarantine, camp quarantine. And yep, that's where they'll take you. Yeah. Good comment, Pat. It's unfortunate. And again, if you are a Q person, don't unsubscribe or anything like that. You need to have more. That's the problem, is that you're in an echo chamber, and you got to realize that they target veterans, and especially veterans and patriots are the biggest target for the New World Order in the United States, because you people represent the greatest threat. Organized militias, trained veterans and stuff like that can easily mobilize and have lots of weapons. You're a very powerful force, and they know that. That's why they target you. So Sink Swim says, in this information age, we are all kind of confused. Trust is out the window. Biblical truth is all you have, and it's awesome. I can't. Well, you can. I say constitutional rights, right? You think you believe in fundamental freedoms, and then you say, I don't care what your religious beliefs are or anything like that, but if we can all agree that you have the right to do this, you have the right to privacy, you have the right to own land, you have the right to raise a family, you have the right to not being surveyed by the government, you have a right to vote for elected or vote for people or run for office or any of these things, just basic constitutional rights. And you say, thou shall not be infringed, basically, no matter what. So that's why I say, the American Constitution, the Bill of Rights, those are the things that we need to safeguard, because those are the things that have enshrined these sort of values. And if we cherish these above all else, then we can use them as a shield to protect us from their agendas. So they want to deconstruct that. Bill Gates versus Rogan. Yeah, that would be instant death for Bill Gates. At least if it was in the ring. You could put Bill Gates in the cage against Philly DeFranco, and he'd be in trouble. He'd be in trouble with almost anybody. But yeah, that'd be kind of funny. It'd be fun to stick him in there with, say a prime Tank Abbott, and say, "Hey Tank, I'll give you an extra $5,000 if you cave this guy's face in." Right. Political Puppet Theater says better off getting a firearm and keeping it close than relying on hand-to-hand skills. Yeah, I agree to a certain extent, but I think if you were a ninja, you might be best off, you had those ninja skills where you have the hand-to-hand, but you also have the skills with weapons, right? And that would be pretty good. But yeah, you can't. I mean, obviously, the good old firearm is a way to go as well. Obviously, I think all those things, anything that gives you that freedom, right? And learning to fight makes you tougher, and it also makes people less inclined to pick fights with you because people don't want to fight people that know how to fight, right? So, if you look physically fit and you look confident, then you're less likely to be targeted by bullies and stuff like that, right? Although there are some guys that want to just fight the toughest guy in the bar sort of thing. I've been in a lot of fights. CDC private company has released 4 guidelines that state that states have to meet before they can open up again. CDC private company that promos Big Pharma. Yeah, CDC is Big Pharma. That's a very good point. Thanks for pointing that out, K Lemon. Great comment. Jeffrey oh, that's not for me. Ever since the airborne was disbanded, they are trying to sue the Canadian government, saying malaria medication they were given made them crazy. Really? I didn't know about that. Damn. That's nuts. Jeff, do you think we should wait it out in Canada or fly off to places where there's no lockdown? Damn, I don't think you can get out right now. I can't. I mean, I can't really. You can't move. They put a freeze on moving, right? They've done all these different things. Real estate is frozen. It's very difficult. I mean, if you get out, like I said before, I didn't show the article, but somebody had sent me this, in which they arrested people in Montreal for going out for pleasure sort of thing, pleasure drive, going for a hike or whatever. This is so diabolical. They're so diabolical. 6 months of winter, and they want you to stay inside. It's just madness. So I never consider military because I've always identified as a rebel my whole life. Yeah, it's true. That's good for you, Onyxia. Hope you're doing well. I barely left my home for 3 weeks, only because I went to the supermarket and I feel internal rage. I'm a very calm person, but this has pushed me to my limits. Yeah, I feel you, Moon Mother. It's exactly the way I feel. I get angry because I see, like, I walk into the supermarket and they're spraying me, and it's like, and then next thing you know, they want everyone to wear a mask, and then everyone has to wear 6, and everyone's spread apart. It's like you're going down the aisle and people are like they don't want to go by you. They're under such mind control that they almost turn around and go the other way so they don't have to walk by you. They're here in Canada now giving, and in the United States, Boston, we showed this the other day, tickets to people who go the wrong way down the street. So they're making the streets one way now. It's insane what they're doing. It's insane. Resist. We must resist. Yeah, Q equals Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. Yep, that's a good one too. And then Q come from James Bond or Star Trek. Yeah, there's Q Collective in Star Trek that are like these omnipotent beings that have godlike powers and stuff. America is Babylon, but it's a shame because we have a lot of Christians in America. The leaders are satanic masons. Yep. Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately. They're testing the people to see how much they'll take. Yeah, Buffalo Gal, and that's it. Don't take any more. We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. That's what we need to do. That's got to be the theme. Divine right, born with body, born to move. Man-made law can't rule over divine rule. Yeah, natural rights. Yeah. So are 5G towers spontaneously catching fire, or is that euphemism? I think people are lighting them on fire in some cases. I think some of them are catching fire. I actually put that in the video yesterday because I was trying to put some hope at the end. That's the way I looked at it. Kind of the way I was thinking is that the 5Gs being lit on fire were just acts of defiance. That this evil tech is being, like, people are standing up against it, and that is happening. People are burning these things down around the world. And again, with the Hong Kong protests, that's one of the things that they did. It was mostly facial recognition, but it's really not any different. 5G and facial recognition are the same beast, right? I mean, 5G can track everything you do and can zap you, and 5G is worse for sure, but facial recognition is awful as well because it's evil beyond belief. But yeah, yeah, that's the kind of the way I looked at it. I was trying to put that in at the end of the video to say there is hope, sort of thing, and people are standing up. I'm not encouraging people to take acts of violence. I can never do that doing this type of show, but I think you know where my sentiments lie, if you know what I'm saying. Supreme Craper says, I have a great article from Swiss medical professional proving coronavirus is a fraud. I'll send it to you. Great. Thank you. I appreciate that. The devil is deceitful. And will 5G cook itself? I think it's more that it's going to cook us. But you know what? I think these meters and people going out and recording this stuff is very powerful. And I think that's why I put some of that in the video there. Civic activism, especially in the time when they've got us all locked up or out of our jobs. This is an opportunity for everybody to get out and talk to people. And I know they want you to keep you away from talking to people, but don't. Get out there and spread this information and get out there and film your neighborhoods and show this police state so that enough people see it, enough people will be horrified, enough people will stand forward, sort of thing. So, Jeff, Mr. Beast, what has he done now, Mr. Beast? Oh, gosh. Mr. Beast. I hate Mr. Beast. I hate his faggoty face and his cheesy mustache. I hate that guy. I hate that operation. But yeah, I guess he's up to whatever now. Is he giving money to peasants? Are they now I have to look. It's Mr. Beast. I'm looking. Mr. Beast. What has he done? Oh, 24 hours in a doomsday bunker. Yeah, there you go. Can we stick him in the octagon for a few hours and we could just choose UFC fighters to go in there one after another? And say, Yoel Romero, you want to go in there? You get this Mr. Beast guy. Maybe you can throw him around. Just have Yoel Romero grab him by the ankle and flip him around, smash him against the... He could probably do that all day. So Mr. Beast got a beating. Yeah, that would be great. Doomsday Bunker. Yeah, I caught it. Yeah, it's nuts. Thanks for sharing. I did see that. I just didn't get a chance to cover it. There's just so much going on. But yeah, that one is definitely worthwhile. The Doomsday Bunker thing is very disturbing. The elites all going into their bunkers. The underground. The what are they called? The the acronym for those underground bunkers, and that the American military and co. You also had Russia building these massive bunkers for millions of people over the last, what is it, 4 or 5 years ago? They were doing that. So I don't know, And then you got channels like the Marfugel clown there saying that it's Atlas, Comet Atlas is coming in, and there's some celestial sort of event. I don't believe that though. I believe it's all. This is just. I think that they're bringing in their new world order. It might be at some point that they just pull the plug and let us duke it out, sort of thing. Like just have 24/7 purge happening, sort of thing. I don't know. So we'll see. Dumbs. Yeah, that's it. Dumbs. Exactly. Jeff, you looked into EMF shielding. Yes, I have. I'm just for me is get the frig out of Dodge. I don't know how you have to buy the EMF clothes, and then they shield your house with the EMF and all of that, but still, I mean, you're gonna be able to keep it all out, right? And then what kind of a life is it walking around, have to wear these types of clothing and, protective suits, with a hazmat suit to go to the park, and then you go with your meter, it's clicking up. Well, here's the EMF reading for today in my local park here. Yeah, that's just terrible. Anyways, I'm going to close her up, guys. I got to use the washroom and stuff and get on. I just want to thank everybody so much for coming in. First and foremost, Camille. And please stop the ride. Go check her out. She's awesome. We've done a lot of shows together. So and we'll continue to do a lot of shows. Thanks to Stranger Fiction for being in the chat and everyone else there. You guys are amazing. And we'll do the best that we can do. We'll be the change that we want to see. I mean, just get out there, be vocal as you can. Think of Camille's mom, Mary, there, who's going out and sticking it to the local politicians who are breaking their own rules. Don't let these clowns get away with anything. And if you see what they're up to, shout it out and let people know. Talk to your neighbors and talk to everybody. Just get out there, plant these seeds, make flyers, share, put memory sticks, CDs, anything you can, get the information out, leave it everywhere you can. I'm going to try to come up with a sheet. So maybe what I'll do is I'll do this on Patreon, where I'll make a flyer, and I'll try to make it a flyer that's not, that is not posting misinformation or disinformation, but that just gives basic information, things like research event 201, and all that. And then, the effects of EMF and the control of the New World Order and Agenda 2030 and stuff like that. I've thought about it a lot. So I think I'm going to do that, and I'll make that available on my Patreon. So there's if you can come and sign up for that. And I'll get that out maybe over the next week. And we'll continue to do more shows. Check out the video by Stranger Than Fiction that I uploaded to Jeff's Censored Encore, which I changed the name. Just in case you're listening to this, you don't know. Jeff Censored Live, the old channel, is now called Jeff Censored Encore. And I've been uploading a lot of videos there over the past week. Some really great stuff, including Stranger Than Fiction's great work where he brought together all this videos and information to present to this whole pandemic that's going on. And then I put up my friends from Defending Utah the other night, who interviewed a nurse in Utah that was exposing the whole scamdemic sort of thing and what the health officials are being programmed or told to do. So Jeff Censored Encore is going to be a channel where I put other people's work that I think is really important, but also some of my more controversial work maybe, and whatever else. I just want to keep that channel there to get important information out, and Jeff Censored being the main channel. And then of course this one, Jeff C Live, as being, the where I can do the group shows sort of thing. So, and it gets complicated in all the different channels. But anyways, thank you all so much for tuning into today's show. Make sure you give me a thumbs up if you haven't already. And yeah, check me out. Come and support me if you can on Patreon. And yeah, we'll see you. I'm going to probably do a couple more videos, maybe one more tonight. I'll do a live show tomorrow and probably on Friday as well. I got a lot of things to talk about, what's going on. So, if I don't do one tomorrow, I'll put up shorter vids, and then Friday, 100% live show on Jeff Censored, the main channel. So hang in there, folks. Be the change you want to see. Fight the good fight. Get out there and talk to as many people as possible. And I shall see you guys all on the next one. Much love, folks. God bless. See you.